hopefully we are live. Possibly. It's looking good. Oh, I've left that on the screen. My apologies. Let's clear that off. Hopefully you can all hear and see me. I'm actually trying to get the last few minutes of the sunshine which is coming in through the window there. So
you don't see it very often.
Yeah, we don't see the sun very often here, especially when we've got a blackout blind there. So just try and make the most of it. And if I slightly off camera, a bit dazzled there. Excellent stuff. So yes, hopefully you can hear. I can't see the screen now.
No, I can't see you.
I've actually blinded myself there with sunlight. Let's move this screen in so I can see it a bit better. There we go. Yeah, let me know in the chat there if you can see and hear me. That'd be very much appreciated. Say hello to you. All is good, Mike, says Rick H. Thank you, Rick. Much appreciated. Riley says hi. We can see and hear you. Excellent. Let's check. Oh, I can't see a thing now. Don't look into the sun. It's really bad for you. There's the overhead. Yeah, that seems to be working. We'll work with that. And there's just a couple of super chats we've got to acknowledge. So there's one there from Rick H. Let's go back to the main camera. Thank you very much, Rick. $2. Disco, disco, disco. Covering for Bob. Bless you. That's very kind of you. It's working. Huh? I can't see a thing.
There was another one.
There was another one. Oh, I really shouldn't have looked into the sun.
Did you say Rick H then?
Yes, and there's one for £5 from Jason Woods. It says party, party, party. Thank you very much, Jason Woods. Much appreciated. Richard says, you do look rather summery. I have been in the sun. I've been working on a video most of the day in the morning and got to about, I think it must have been about 4 or 5 o'clock after just finished dinner. Did the video up to about 3:30. Went to the local shops, got some dinner, had my dinner, went straight to my belly, fell asleep in the garden until about 7 PM and then come in and it's like, right, shit, I haven't charged up the microphones. Let's do that quickly, get everything set up. And then it's just like the panic, the last minute panic trying to get the stream ready. I actually did well because I got the stream thumbnail and video kind of up and ready by, I think it was about 3, 4 o'clock. It was around about when I was about to have my dinner or just after I had dinner. So that was pretty good. So good to see some of you in the chat. I appreciate, for a lot of us, especially in the UK, it is basically peak spring. I'm not going to say summer because it isn't summer yet, but it's peak spring. So if you are a regular, but you're out enjoying yourselves, maybe you've got some family do, or you're having a barbecue, or just want to spend some time in the sun or be with your family, I totally get it. I totally understand. Don't feel that you have to be here to support the channel. You can always catch up on the video on demand after the stream is ended. Maybe on Sunday with your hangovers, just have a watch while you're eating your bacon sarnie and having a nice cup of tea. Sit down and have a watch of the stream and enjoy it. So yeah, great stuff. For those of you that are here, much appreciated. And for those of you that are donating and super chatting, all that kind of stuff, and just commenting in the chats, we love that. So tonight, the stream is essentially going to be kind of based around the budget PC that I've been building. So I'm not entirely sure what I talked about in last week's stream. So I think we were talking about the Intel budget system, which I was building in the Montech AIR 309 Max.
903, isn't it?
903, sorry, what did I say?
303, I think you said.
It's one of those. Yeah, the Montech 903 AIR Max Air, whatever. That case, great case. That was finished, built, and is actually for sale at the moment on Facebook Marketplace. So if you go to Facebook Marketplace, if you're in the UK, you should be able to find it. Just put in like Intel 12400F or gaming PC or something. You should find it eventually. Got it up there for $599, which was basically, it was loosely based around the video for the £600 gaming PC. So we've pretty much done that, although I have tweaked it very slightly with the CPU cooler. It's got a bit of a nicer cooler in there now. Potentially there is a bit of wiggle room as well. So I've priced it a little bit higher than what I need to clear to just cover what it owes me. So yeah, if I get offered a little bit less, then I should be able to take it and not have any regrets. And then with that money, when it comes back in theory, I can then move on to the AMD version, which I've already started some of the purchasing. So this is the motherboard, which I actually looked to see when I reviewed this. I reviewed this motherboard back in, I think it was the 16th of June 2021. So almost 3 years ago to the day. And at the time I said this was like basically the best kind of board to get for AM4. And actually, I think that still rings true even now in 2024. So for those of you who haven't seen it before, this is the MSI B550 Gaming Plus. No Wi-Fi, no Bluetooth, just a decent platform for your AM4 processors. It's got 13 phases of VRM, so I think it's 10 main phases, 2 for the V-Core and 1 for the APU. So that one you're basically not going to use. But it's a dual rail, or duet rail, as MSI likes to refer to it. So the 10 phases are kind of doubled. And yeah, it's just an all-round decent board. It works very well on pretty much any AM4 processors you care to throw on it. Comes in at a particularly good price at the moment. This is available from Amazon.co.uk at the time of recording this video, £107, which I feel is absolutely brilliant. Considering when it came out, I think it was about £130. It's been as low as £99, and obviously with inflation and yeah, all that usual stuff, it isn't got that much more expensive, but it's still an absolutely great board. And Gav's super chatting at me, so who have we got here? Nick Barnes sent us £10. Says, hi, my Gav, put towards the printer filament for the MUB badges. All the best, Nick, Joe and Molly. Thank you, Nick, Joe and Molly. That is much appreciated for the donation there. Of course, for those of you who are not sure what the hell's going on, if you want to make a donation to the channel, you're more than welcome to do so. You don't have to. Just watching the videos, clicking like every now and then, or maybe dropping a comment is more than enough. But if you do want to send us a donation, you can do via super chats, actually from the YouTube app, or alternatively, you can support us in other means, such as Patreon. That's possibly the best value one at the moment. And also you can become a YouTube member, so you get early access to videos, much like you do with Patreon. That is a little bit earlier still. Or alternatively, if you want to, and you don't want any of that stuff, you just want to help out directly, then you can send us a PayPal donation, of which we basically get all of it, other than what we have to pay in tax to the taxman, because I don't think donations are exempt from tax. I really need to look into that, but I'm paying tax on it anyway, so you never know, I might be able to get it refunded back one day. Who knows? Oh. Yeah,
sorry,
fat chance of that. So thank you much, Nick, Joe and Molly, much appreciated. Oh, and another way you can help support the channel is you can gift Mike's Unboxing memberships, as Andi Archer has just done there. Let's click on that one. So Andy has given Mike's Unboxing memberships. That's for a month's worth of early access. And that has gone to Chris Hartford, Richard, Shearer69, Danny D and Rumjack13. All of you now have the VIP tag, or rank, on our Discord.
You have to ask for that.
You have to ask us for that. I'm not going to give it to you. We don't have the technology. So you get early access to the videos, and also if you want to, you can use the custom emojis in the chat. You lucky people. No one ever does, but you're more than welcome to if you want to. I was just looking at this keyboard. It looks like it's slanted away from me, but it's not. Unlike the keyboard behind me, which is slanted upwards, which hopefully someone has noticed, but maybe not. So let's see what you guys are saying. Sky Stalker's in the house. Let's actually say hello to those of you that are in the chat, because I haven't said hello to everybody yet. I often get waylaid, so let's do that. That way we'll wait for some more people to pile in before we take a closer look at the motherboard. Also in tonight's stream, we will be taking a look at our new 3D printer, which is super exciting. I've been busy all week trying to get my head around it. The printer was actually recommended to us by Patrick LaBelle. Sent me an email, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, saying that Bambulabs, which are a maker of 3D printers, actually having a sale on, and there was a big reduction, about £100 or $100 off the price of the Bamboo A1 Mini, which is actually perfect for us because we don't have any room here whatsoever. So having a small budget 3D printer, so I can kind of whet my appetite for 3D printing, give it a go, see how we get on. You never know, might expand it and get a bigger one and have that as a secondary machine. Have a whole bloody 3D printing farm going on. Who knows? Kath's got her hand up.
Maralina's in.
Marilina. Hi Marilina, how you doing? Marilina is I'm not even sure how would I describe Marilina? So Marilina is the equivalent of Kath in regard to the Kerry Holzman YouTube channel, which I'm sure all of you, well, yeah, I'm sure all of you have heard at some point or other of Kerry Holzman. Now, I've been dropping into Kerry's chats on and off over the years, a long time. But very recently, it's kind of, I don't know whether it's because there's a tick box next to my name now, but we've been putting in comments and making suggestions, and actually Kerry and the team there have they've offered us, or at least mentioned, that they would like to do some form of collaboration, which actually I'm quite excited about. Now, I'm still slightly anxious, if I'm completely honest with you, because I know that I'm going to disagree with Kerry on a few things. Over the years, I've watched a lot of content, and there's been times where I've been shouting at the screen, but there's been other times where I've been like, yeah, actually, yeah, you've got a really good point there. So yeah, definitely, both of us have got a lot of experience. Kerry more so. I believe he's a little bit older than me, and he's worked in the industry for a long time. I've also got experience in the industry from possibly a different perspective. So I think it might be interesting for the viewers of Mike's Unboxing, and also from Kerry Holzman's channel, to actually see us not so much butting heads, because I don't think it'll be that sort of thing, but just to kind of maybe argue different points and different aspects of computing, being that we both work in similar ways but different ways, which is I think is actually very interesting, and it could turn out to be very cool.
They're live in 30 minutes. So.
Right, okay.
And also...
Yeah, Marilina, they're saying that Kerry Holzman's live in 30 minutes, so maybe open up both streams. Watch both at the same time and compare.
And Gary says, is that a printer project?
Is what a printer project?
Your keyboard stand?
Yes, the keyboard stand is actually a 3D printer project. Thank you for noticing.
And Leo asks, hello Mike, between this and the Tomahawk, which would you recommend me?
Between this board and the Tomahawk, I would say this one, for reasons which we'll go into later. Don't get me wrong, the Tomahawk is a great board, but I actually prefer this one for a couple of reasons, and one of which is actually the price. And secondly, one of the reasons I like the Tomahawk board, but I feel that the Tomahawk branding has been somewhat over-egged. The Tomahawk board, like the B450 Tomahawk, was arguably the best, or the go-to motherboard for that particular time. But I think the B550 Tomahawk actually missed out a couple of very small details, which doesn't make it quite the go-to board. And being that this is generally about £20 to £30 cheaper, but for almost exactly the same performance and arguably slightly better features, I think this is the one to go for. If you've got either, you've got a fantastic motherboard either way. So I'm not saying the B550 Tomahawk is in any way, shape or form a bad board. It totally isn't. It's a very, very good, stable. I've had a couple of them, and I've had a few of these. So they have their uses. If the Tomahawk was the same price, I might be tempted to go for it, but being that it's more expensive, slightly less features, I kind of like the Gaming Plus. Anyway, so there you go. Let's have a look through some of your comments there and see what you guys are thinking. So, yeah, sorry, Marilina is basically the administrator for Kerry Holzman's channel. She's also, I'm not sure if it's public knowledge, I guess it kind of is, but she is his wife. They are a married couple. So, yeah, they work in a very similar way to what me and Kath do. We're married as well. We live together, we work together, and I would say, now that Kath's just gone out of the room, I would say Marilina's probably better at IT. At least graphics, anyway, as far as I can tell. Don't tell Kath I said that when she gets back in. Oh dear. AJ Haverkamp says, donations are income, so it is tax, sadly. Well, that is not good. Yeah, I guess they are. I wonder if all YouTubers declare their donations. I don't know. we declare everything here. I like to sleep at night, and I don't think I would be able to remember any lies that I made on my tax return. So my memory is bad enough as it is. So I have to start lying about what I've falsified on a tax return. I think I'd tie myself up in knots. So I just declare everything. I declare everything I've claimed for, everything that I'm getting in, PC sales, donations, super chats, patrons, all that. It all gets written down and logged. So if it's wrong, it's wrong. If it's right, great. We'll see. Maria says, hi, hello, love your studio space, 3D printing, eh? Yes, we are getting into 3D printing. 3D printing has been one of those things which I've always thought of being an absolute waste of time and money. But I think I'm slightly converted, which I didn't think I would say. I'm actually enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. Now, don't get me wrong, it is frustrating and there is a relatively steep learning curve. And the 3D printing arena, or the kind of the community as such, I would say in general, from my very, very kind of limited exposure to it, is a little bit on the stuffy side. It's kind of, if you're a complete beginner, sometimes it's like you can ask a question and you can almost see people in the comments like just turning their nose up at you or just looking at you in disgust, which is a shame, but hopefully there will be places I can go to where I'll find the information a little bit easier. Luckily, because we have this wonderful thing called the internet, a lot of things you can search and it's not too bad. But there's been a few gotcha moments for me already. So we'll be discussing some of those later on in the stream. Say hello to the rest of you. That's what I was doing, saying hello to everyone who's in the chat. Let's go and do that. Let me go back up to the top here. So Arale's with us. Atomic Sub. Jason Woods, as we said already with that super chat earlier. Mark Berry, how you doing, Mark? Jojo says, just got an MSI board in the mail today. They are the most full feature boards for AM4 for the price. Yeah, I agree with that. I think they're very good boards. I've always got a little bit of a soft spot for MSI boards. I like the features. I'm generally liking the prices. And they don't seem to be that bad a company to actually work with and deal with and to actually buy things. Because not only have we had contact with MSI directly for certain collaborations on some products, which I hasten to add weren't sponsored, and generally we don't get to keep the products. There's been a couple which we've kept actually, a couple of keyboards and mice in the very early days, and headsets they generally let you keep, because headsets are one of these things that kind of, you've had it on your head, you've sweated in it, so they don't really want to send it on to another reviewer. But in general, everything from MSI that you've ever seen on the channel, unless we've bought it ourselves, has been returned back to MSI. Just wanted to make you aware of that, so I'm not just being a shill. I like it. MSI stuff and their BIOS is great. And I love their fan control software. And actually, I love MSI Center. And I miss it when I don't get to use it. Yes, Kath?
Can you put that in breathing mode behind you, or it's distracting?
It's distracting. Okay. I will. Let's see. Let's.
And Jason Wood asks, have you ever reviewed a DJI Osmo Pocket 1?
No. I've done the Pocket 2. Let's try and find something which isn't too distracting.
Oh, that's good.
Let's have a subtle colour fade, that's not too bad. If it gets too distracting, let me know, and I'll just move it. So, where did I get? Jojo, Shearer69, how you doing? Rick H is in the house, how you doing, Rick? Paul Lamont, how you doing, Paul? Good to see you in the chat. Nana Real says hi. Dutch Jan, how you doing, Dutch Jan? Nick Barnes, hi Nick. Joe and Molly, should say as well. Jojo, Nick Barnes, sorry, just quickly going through these. Tony's in, Even All My Heart Is, how you doing, Tony? John David Sullivan, how you doing? Jason Woods. Richard says you do look summery, yep, we've been there. Where else? We've got Sky Stalkers in the house. Ordinary Dude, how you doing? Playing hooky from work, lol. Good one. Chris Hartford, how you doing, Chris? William Bodie, mine to Mubsters will not write too much work. No worries. Enjoy. We'll catch up with you. Or just listen in. We'll mention you every now and then. Just to make sure you're still awake. Kev2427 says, evening folks, I love that board. It's pretty cool. Chris Hartford stuck at work until 10:30. Well, I'm stuck at work until about 11. Richard says, I'm still eyeing up the 57X3D from China for just under £130. I have actually purchased this week the AM4 5700X3D from AliExpress. £125 plus taxes, I think it was, then a rebate, and it ended up being, I think, 135 in total, which I think is actually cracking value for money. I thought it was actually less than that, but the invoice they sent me was 135. I'm sure I paid 125. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, the 5700X3D is going to be what I'm actually going to pair with this, believe it or not. So in the £600 build, I've actually put in this as being a Ryzen 5 5600, which is about £100 here in the UK. But I'm thinking the 5700X3D for about £125, like £20 more, that's a lot of processor for the money, isn't it? You get 2 extra cores, 4 extra threads, you get the 3D V-cache, a better processor overall. So I think in terms of actually putting this together and then reselling it after, putting on the fact that it's got a Ryzen X3D processor on there is going to make people kind of salivate and maybe help them open up their wallets a little bit better. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. I have found a game. I listed that PC yesterday. It's got an AMD graphics card in it, RX 6600, which isn't the best, I get you, but very little interest. Quite a few people have liked it and done the wow comment on Facebook. Whether or not that's because it's cheap or because they like it, I don't know, or they think it's overpriced. You can't really tell. But so, as far as now, no firm offers. Although someone said, "Can you deliver it to Swindon?" It's like, well, no, I'm not going to deliver it to Swindon. So Richard, yeah, I've got mine on order. I think it's they say it's a 8-day delivery or 5 to 8 days for delivery. So hopefully, it'd be nice if I got it for this time next week. That would be ideal, but we'll see. It'll take a while. Blake says I bought 2 of those for kids builds. No regrets. Only misses the Wi-Fi, or only minus the Wi-Fi. Yeah, it's a shame it hasn't got Wi-Fi built in. I think that would have made a big difference. Who else we've got? Skystalker we said already. Chris Hartford, Richard, sure, blah blah blah. Jason Woods, Marolina. Tony says still no membership. I must have upset someone. It is literally luck of the draw. YouTube, their back end just basically cycles through, and that is it. Andi Archer's in the chat. How you doing, Andi Archer? Leo. That was the one earlier. Hello, Mike. Between this and a Tomahawk, which would you recommend? Yeah, I think this one gets it. The Tomahawk's got a slightly weird design where, well, I guess this one has as well to some extent, because the Tomahawk's got some weird USB outputs on the back. Anyway. AJ Haverkamp says she took, this is in reference to Marolina, she took the tattoos that Kerry was afraid to take. I don't fancy tattoos myself. I kind of do, but I don't. Sometimes I see tattoos and I think, yeah, that's pretty cool. But then other times I think that would hurt. So, and also it's easier for me to be identified by the police. So, potentially I won't. Zero Defects, how you doing? He's in the chat as well. Pete Unwins in the chat. Who else we got? Dave Aikens in the chat. How you doing, Dave? How's the back to work thing going on? You glad to be back at work? Andi Archer says he has strong opinions. That is about Kerry Holzman. He does. And he sticks to his guns, give him that. Who's that? Someone said weird buffering.
That was Nick Barnes.
Nick Barnes. I think we're pretty much okay here. Not we've dropped any frames. No, we haven't dropped any frames here, so it might be YouTube's end. We're doing okay. Musical Fan says MSI don't give the option of fast boot. Don't know the reason. They do. Do you mean memory fast boot or just fast boot in general. It definitely is in there. Pretty much every MSI board I've ever owned has the option to enable or disable fast boot. And yesterday I did a review of a boss tour of the B760 -P Wi-Fi DDR4, and that's definitely got it in because I went through it. I can remember it very well. Is the keyboard still distracting, AJ? Let's see, where did I get to? Ah, there we go. Weird buffering for 20 seconds. All right. Not sure what that is, Nick. Very strange. Peter Stiff says, hi, Kath, Mike, and all. How you doing, Peter? John David Sullivan says, I'm happy with the X570 Tomahawk and a B550 Strix. Good combos. Dutch Jan says, B550 Tomahawk in PC2. They're very popular boards. Matthew Day says, if only we could go back in time for the dirt cheap A320s. Yeah, that'd be good. Marina says, lol, ex-network engineer and system administrator. Very cool. Skystalker says, Mike is going to get into trouble. I think I probably would, to be honest with you. If Kerry and I did some sort of collaboration, I probably would say something, or like, I've got quite strong views on some things as well. And some of them are definitely things that Kerry has strong views on also, but our views differ. So it'll be entertaining, if anything. I don't think it would be abrasive. And I don't think it'd get to the point where either one of us would just like, right, hang up the call. I think it'd just be a robust debate. And the good thing is, generally in a lot of debates, especially when it comes to computers, there isn't really a right or wrong answer. Sure, there's differences of opinion and there's different ways of working and different methodologies, but ultimately you do your thing, I do my thing. That is ultimately what it comes down to. There's very few instances where something is just plain out wrong. People do things wrong, but yeah, it's all about doing what works for you. Andi Archer says, I believe he's just moved to Studio again. Yes, Studio C is being created currently, I believe.
You're quite behind. There's quite a few questions coming in.
All right. The Pixel Surgeon has retracted the message, so I can't read that. Andi Archer says, delete the playback edition, Mike. What was that? I'm not sure what that is. Jojo says, Taxman has entered the chat. Rick H says, I tried watching Kerry's stream yesterday, but he is so negative and I don't enjoy watching, but that's just me. That's fair enough. That's, like with anything, there's some people, like, there's people that we follow, us, myself. Obviously, Kath doesn't necessarily follow the same people I do. And there's people that she watches that I dislike, and there's people that I like that she dislikes. It's just the way things are. You don't have to necessarily enjoy other people's content. I would say in a lot of, well, not a lot of cases, but there are been times where I can understand where Kerry's coming from with some of the negativity, because when you're doing it day in, day out, and you're getting the sort of same-ish questions all the time, or the same-ish problems all the time, it does become really fatiguing. And trying to maintain a persona on camera, whilst you've got these things over and over and over again, it's a hard thing to do. And at some points, if it's hot or you're just feeling you're not feeling it on that day, it's quite easy to just like unload and just be quite negative, and it happens. I've been there numerous times. I'm probably guilty of it more so, but I try not to do it so much on camera. I'll quite often be quite negative when I'm talking to Kath about things, and then I'll shake myself and it's like, all right, just man up, Mike, get on with it. But yeah, I understand where he's coming from. I really do. And being that he does it every day like we do, it's tiring. It generally is tiring. Jason Woods says, question Mike, I know you've reviewed cameras and mics. Have you reviewed a DJI Osmo Pocket 1? No, I've still got the Pocket 2. Did review on that. Done a few videos on that. Actually, it's quite an interesting camera. I fancied getting the Pocket 3 because I felt the Pocket 2 was good, but the technology of the time just wasn't quite there. It's kind of 90% there. It's a great little camera. Really enjoyed using it, but the Pocket 3 showed what can actually be done. Shira69 says 3D printing is great. I have 3D printed cases. I'm very fortunate. We got sent a 3D printed case from Patrick LaBelle, which used the designs from Maker Unit. Some of you may have seen that already. I might be actually making some modifications to that case, possibly. I'm not too sure. I might do. I don't think I can because I don't think my printer is big enough, but we'll see what we can do. Jojo says MSI is better than Asus. I would say of the two, MSI and Asus are probably my top two choices. Probably then ASRock, and probably lastly Gigabyte. I've not been massively keen of Gigabyte, although people have told me that Gigabyte have upped their game and their new BIOS layout and their software has improved dramatically. So we actually have been contacted by Gigabyte in the UK to see if we want any review samples. And I've actually got a monitor which I've reviewed today, which is the Gigabyte G27 FC, which actually nice little monitor if you're looking for budgets. 165 Hz monitor. Very pleased with that. Surprised how cheap it was actually, but very nice monitor. So when that goes back, I probably will request a couple of motherboards just so I can see what the modern BIOS and the software is like, just so I can give a kind of balanced view. Because I like MSI products and I like Asus products and ASRock and Gigabyte to some extent, but I do always find I just pull back or I just hesitate when I'm buying Gigabyte, and I don't know what it is. There's no real reason for it, but their software, I do like to use Motherboard software control for fans, RGB, and like the auto updates and all that kind of stuff. It's just a handy thing to do, and having it all tied into your brand, it just makes life easier. So yeah, I feel that MSI do the best. The MSI Center I feel is the best of all of them. The Asus Armory Crate I think is getting better. It's still very bloated, but actually it's been very good. And the fact that it doesn't run in the background all the time is actually quite good. Although if you want to access it quickly, it means you've got to fire it up, which is a shame. So anyway, yeah, definitely going. ASRock, I think, have fallen way, way behind. The Polychrome RGB software is an absolute abomination, and they should be thoroughly embarrassed of it. Now, I know you can use other RGB software. Other software is available, OpenRGB, etc. But yeah, I think if ASRock could up their game and get their motherboard software and fan control to be as good or as easy to use as the MSI Center, I'd be thinking about changing. I think that would make a big difference. Hardware-wise, pretty much they got it absolutely sorted, so no worries there. John David Sullivan says, first MSI board I bought was the P4N Diamond, showing your age there, for my Pentium 4. It was amazing. Mainly been with MSI boards ever since. Yeah, I've used a lot of MSI boards over the years. Lots. They've generally been all very good. I'm trying to think now very carefully in case I've publicly gotten mad about an MSI board. I don't think I have. And there's been very few kind of real, what I would say, legitimate returns. There's been the occasional one where I've been like, well, I could argue this doesn't work properly and send it back and get another one so I can get another review board without spending more money from Amazon. So I think there was one, was it the B550, what's the top of the line one, the Ultra? I'm trying to think what it was now. I think Dave Aitken had one as well. I bought one and it was basically dead on arrival because it was an Amazon warehouse return, so it happens. Anyway, moving on. Richard says, Matthew Day, those... Sorry?
Marolina's off.
Oh, cheers, Marolina. Enjoy your stream, and hopefully, depending how long it goes on for, I'll try and drop in on the flip side of this one. Richard says, Matthew Day, those £20 A320s were scandalous. They were mad, weren't they? £20 for a motherboard. I think I bought an AX370, which was like an X370 board, which is slightly cut down a little bit. And I think I paid £30 for that. That was a gigabyte board, but it failed and I had to return it. And I think I made a video on how to return motherboards out of that video. So yeah, that was a shame. Rick H says, I always buy MSI, bought a couple of gigabyte boards, didn't really like them, went back to MSI. No worries. Pixel Surgeon says there, the MSI Center is also the best. Yeah, I think it was, I would agree with that. I think MSI Center, give it its flaws and what have you, I think it's a pretty decent bit of software. It is, like always, they're all getting a little bit bloated. Everyone's jumping on that AIO bandwagon. Let me know in the chat, how pissed off are you at everyone putting an AI badge on basically anything that has any form of algorithm or kind of any autonomy whatsoever? It's ridiculous. It's like you're going to go into shops soon and they'll be like, watch out for the AI opening doors. And it's like, they're just heat sensors. They're opening and closing. It's not AI. It's a sensor. But it's that kind of thing. They're just like chucking the AI tag on everything. I'm getting quite upset by it all. I don't particularly like AI stuff anyway. I don't think there's really a place for it. There is, but not yet. I don't think we're quite there as a society to make the most of AI. Because I think people will end up making... There'll be some people who will use it for beneficial stuff, but I think the majority is going to be hackers and basically scammers who are going to use AI to their fullest advantage and try and scam the bejesus out of everybody. That's just my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Telesto says, hi, how you doing? AJ Haverkamp says, my main rig has an MSI X570 Meg Unify. That's the one I was thinking of, the Unify. The B550 Unify. 2 Asus Prime X570 Pro motherboards. And the other PCs, the MSI just had more options and got it on a great deal. Rock solid with a 5950X, 120 gigs of RAM. Awesome stuff. Mitch Hammond's in the chat. How you doing, Mitch? So hello, Mike. Hope you're doing well. I'm not doing bad. Thank you very much. Mark Berry. Blah, blah, blah. Nighthawks. Mike, I'm thinking about buying a Meta Quest 2. They can be had for 120 second-hand or 180 new. What's your view on the Quest 2? I have no view on it. I'll be completely honest with you. When it comes to VR, I've had no experience whatsoever other than I think I bought a cheap VR strap-on headset which you slid your phone into, and I didn't have the greatest of experiences with it, if I'm honest. I haven't experienced any...
One you bought from Poundland?
Yeah, it was a Poundland one made of cardboard with an elastic band on there. So that is my experience of VR. I would like to experience it. Again, I think it's one of those things, much like AI, where it's a really good idea in principle, but I don't think there's enough of the bugs ironed out, or the technology hasn't managed to catch up enough to enable it to be a good experience without costing an absolute fortune or needing crazy horsepower in your PC or the device itself to do it. I could be completely wrong. I may be speaking out of my ass. It happens frequently. Kath will attest to that. But yeah, I don't have enough experience of it to make any valid claims, pros, cons, whatever. I think if a Meta Quest 2 is about 120 quid second hand, then I think for 120 quid, that's the sort of money in the PC market anyway, that you can kind of just give it a go, see if it's for you or not, and then if you like it, perhaps spend more money later on with like VR trackers and upgraded headsets, all that kind of stuff. But I think £120 is a reasonable amount to kind of just get started with it. So if you do, let me know how you get on with it. I'll be interested. Right, where did I get to? Matthew Day says, RGB, what's that? Don't start. Riley Slip says, RGB equals Romulan ginger beer. Oh, I could murder a ginger beer. I haven't had a ginger beer in years. That'd be good. Yeah. Ashley Strachan, good evening party people. Rum and sun in the garden. Mike looking rather tan there. I'll turn the studio light on in a minute and I'll just go back to the pale. I've picked up a little bit of sun. Andi Archer says, Mike AI unboxing. Nick Barr says it's utter BS, not AI in my opinion. Yeah. Blake Gangcliffe says AI is the modern VR badge ready. VR ready badge. Yeah. I think it's fun. I think it's generally fun, and there's some cool little tools, but I don't think, unless you're actually in some kind of industry where it makes a lot of sense and it can save a lot of man hours, or woman hours for that matter, yeah, I think that's a cool thing to do. But whether or not that's then AI, or whether that is just you programming something to make it appear to have AI, I think that's the biggest problem that the whole AI thing is. So I think there needs to be some kind of draw a line in the sand and say, right, okay, this is what AI is. This is what AI means. This is the definition of true AI. And this is what is on offer at the moment. Because we aren't there. We haven't reached that kind of nexus point where machines have basically autonomy, or a machine has what some may consider to be a conscience or a soul or a personality even. They can be programmed to make them seem like they've got that, but we're not at the point where they are artificially intelligent. At the moment, they're programmed intelligence. And I think there's a massive gulf between that, and it's very misleading, because it's not an AI engine. It's not an AI as such. It's a pseudo AI or a programmed AI. Sorry?
Synthetic.
Yeah, basically it's synthetic AI, because it's not.
Synthetic eye.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to get too bogged down on it. Mitch says, I just last night started to use OpenRGB. Works pretty well on my Asus X570 Tough Gaming Wi-Fi. Yeah, OpenRGB, may sound like a stupid thing, because I've got like a tech channel. I do tech stuff, but yeah, I struggle with OpenRGB. I don't know what it is. There's some applications, I don't know what it is. I just get to the point where I get just like a complete blank. And OpenRGB is supposedly one of the easiest things to use. But for me, it confuses me. I really don't understand it. But I know a lot of you like it, so I'm not going to dismiss it or diss it, because yeah, it does a pretty good job. It's just I'm unable to make it do what I need it to do. Ashley Strachan says AI badge equals dollars or pounds. Yes, it does. Dutch Jan says, look at DeBauer's video about AI. I might try and do that.
You're going the wrong way.
No. Blake says, still using the B550 Unify C for my main PC. Yeah, Unify boards are awesome. G Rich says, hi Mike and Kath. Why is this not scrolling? Come on, scroll. Ah, there we go. Matthew Day says, I had a Google Cardboard, couldn't see it without my glasses, and it couldn't fit over them for some reason. Yeah, it's rubbish. Senior Mobius. Nice MSI board there. My VDH Wi-Fi Pro has been going strong for a couple of years now. I know you never had much luck with yours, but it's done me proud with the 5700G without graphics card, and now with 4070 graphics. Awesome stuff. I always liked the B550 Pro VDH Wi-Fi. I thought it was a great board, and that was my kind of go-to board for micro ATX on the AM4 platform. It was always a really good board. But they did have a problem where there were quite a few of them which just failed. They were just had a really high, weird failure rate, and I never really got to why it was. But yeah, I think I did have one here. I think I threw it out ages ago. I took some parts off it and threw it away. John Grammaticus is running an X570 Meg Ace with a 5800X. Any point in swapping for X3D as a last hurrah for AM4, or carry on until about the end of 2025 and get a Ryzen 9000 on discount? Yeah, if you're on a 5800X already, really that kind of is the end of the road in terms of if you're wanting for gaming. If you're doing content creation or multitasking, then you've still got options like the 5900, 5950. Those are still viable. Whether or not you'll see a huge increase in performance, probably not. with the X3D chips, you'll probably find in some tasks the X3D will actually be about the same or slower than the 5800X, the normal version, because it needs for the applications to actually take advantage of that extra V-cache, or 3D V-cache. Games generally will do to a large extent. Applications probably not so much, and especially applications which rely on frequency rather than cache, you may actually see a drop-off in performance because the X3D variants are generally of a lower frequency because they rely on the 3D V-cache to kind of speed up the overall operation, so they don't need as much frequency. So yeah, if you're at the 5800, the 5800 is an awkward one because you're kind of really at the peak of what you can do with, unless you can get a processor really cheap and you can sell yours for good money, then there isn't really a great deal of changing anything. I would probably be more considering going to maybe not so much wait to the end of 2025. I would probably get a I don't know, the next Ryzen's will be out very shortly, the 9000 series, so I would be tempted to look on AliExpress when they come out and see what's available for sensible money. Ivory Wolfman says, I saw a post on Facebook Marketplace. The guy was saying spend everything on a GPU like a 4070, CPU and RAM speed are not important. Recommended a 5600 over a 7800X3D and 32 megahertz RAM over 3600. I can see where he's coming from. Most games generally tend to rely on the graphics card. You do need a processor to process the information to feed the graphics card. In terms of if you are really strapped for money and you are playing games, you might be better off going to 5600 over the if the 7800X3D puts you in a point where you can't afford the 4070 and you have to go like to a 4060 or something lower, then that doesn't make sense for gaming because it just doesn't. You're wasting money there. 3200 RAM over 36 gain is, if it's cheaper by a significant margin, it probably is better. Ryzen AM4 platform, generally the sweet spot for RAM is 3600. But if you're going with 4 sticks of RAM, you might want to go with 3200 anyway, because the memory controller doesn't always like going for 3600 megahertz across all 4 sticks, unless you're really lucky or you've got a very good board.
You've got your camera on manual focus.
Have I?
So you're a bit blurry at times.
I'm not blurry, I'm just old.
Might be the lighting as well.
There we go. Let's stick the light on. We'll go into the darkness. And we'll put in the light. I'll get a drink. I might have to have another drink. We haven't got any. I've got cold kefir. It's better. Have a little drink there. Matthew Day says we're going to make the Terminator. We're not far off. AJ Haverkamp says AI can only regurgitate what you feed it, but luckily it can't think on itself. Yeah, that's exactly right. If you think about how it is, like with this AI, there are those large language models which it learns from. So the fact that you are giving it data means that it's not artificially intelligent. You are feeding it intelligence. You're basically cramming encyclopedias of knowledge into a program and then just asking it a question. It's effectively, AI is basically a search engine. You type in a request and it answers your question. Now, whether that be in the form of text, whether that be in the form of a visual thing, a picture, a video, you're basically doing that. You're feeding it lots of information. When you say, like, make me a picture of some grass with a tiger and a man with a bow and arrow, it's not thinking, right, okay, what does a man look like? It's just going onto the internet, into the learning model, and going, right, show me pictures of those things I've just asked for. Then it selects a few at random and throws them all together to see what it would like. Look, see how it looks. And if you don't like it, you press the button and it redoes it again. It just keeps on going, which is basically the same as doing a Google search. And if you don't like the first page, you scroll down to the next one or the third page. So there you go. Michael Ellingham says, "What's next? AI RGB." Technically, that could be quite interesting. What is going on? Oh, I've got to fast forward. Rasher, how you doing, Rasher? Bless you. Rasher's gifted 5 Mike's Unboxing reviews and how-to memberships. Thank you very much. And they've gone to Sean Moore, Raj D, Dim, Paul 112, and THC 2 Stoned. All of you have been gifted memberships by Rasher. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. And there's a super chat there from Jason Woods. Good night all. Have an awesome weekend. Thanks, Jason. You too. Sleep well. You probably will do after listening to me. Or you'll have nightmares about AI. Don't dream of the Terminator. I did that. We went on. That was a bit high pitched. Years ago, we went on holiday to Benidorm, and we were in an all-inclusive hotel, and we went to these like shops around the outside, and I bought one of those laser pen markers. You know, little things you used to have on a key ring. You press the button, you had like a laser dot, and cats would chase them and all that kind of stuff. And there were some parents with some kids, and I was maybe in my mid-20s at the time, and they were like, I don't know, not teens. They're like, they're about 10 or so, weren't they? The kids, 10 to 13, I suppose.
Yeah, about 10, maybe younger.
Yeah, so the youngest kids, there's a group of them. I never know how old kids are. I don't really care. Anyway, so I was messing around with the laser pen, and they were looking at it, and then I had it by the side of my head, like I was the Terminator. And so I'm the Terminator and all this stuff. And then the next day, am I imagining this or is this right? I'm pretty sure the next day, the parents came over to us because we went to the same place around the same sort of time the next day.
It was in our hotel.
Was it in the hotel?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the hotel, like, pub garden, wasn't it? Yeah.
Not a pub garden, it was a hotel garden. But
Oh, was it?
Like, we had different ones.
Anyway, yeah, they came over to us and basically had a go at me and said, thanks, our son's had nightmares all night because of you.
But we couldn't get rid of them, could we? They weren't looking after
They weren't looking after the kids. They were hanging around with us, and we were just like drunk and messing around.
Did they nick your Men in Black McDonald's sunglasses?
They did try to nick my sunglasses as well, little bastards. Anyway, moving on. Pixel Surgeon says my max RAM speed on my 5700X is 3200. The board can handle more. Nick Barnes says, question, at what point do these upgrades become unnoticeable to the human eye? Thought the AM5 9000 series were not much of a leap ahead over the 7000 series. It doesn't appear they will be. Realistically, I think it's probably going to be maybe 20-25% faster overall. 25% faster, if you work for a living using a computer, there will be a tangible time saving there if you have CPU intensive tasks. But the reality is, it's kind of all about balance. If your CPU is a bit faster, you probably need a faster GPU as well to keep up with it. Maybe you need some more RAM. It's all a bit daft. The days where it used to be really good, where you'd have a generational improvement and it would be like twice as fast or 3 times as fast, maybe, whatever. Those massive leaps that we made years and years and years ago, we don't make anymore. So it's these really small incremental improvements, which I, for one, personally would rather they slow down the release cycle, maybe add a new product every 2 to 3 years, or maybe longer, rather than having this yearly kind of rehash of stuff and just 5% faster, 10% faster, etc. It's kind of pointless, but it's consumerism, so we do it. And to be honest with you, it's good fun as well. Roderick Kennedy, hey all, says hope all are well. Not bad, Roderick, thank you very much. Ivory Wolfman says, dream of weird science instead of Terminator. You forgot to hook up the doll. Matthew Day says, head laser is Borg. This was pre-Borg. I don't think the Borg were a thing. They might have been. Maybe subliminally. What year did we go away? 98?
Yeah, 98.
Yeah, 1998. So the Borg might have been a thing then. I'm not sure.
Where did I say 95?
Mitch Hammond says, Mike, what would be a decent Ryzen build for light video 1080p editing? I want to upgrade from my 5-year-old X570 Tough Game Wi-Fi, RTX 2070, 32 gigs, and 3200 DDR4. To be honest with you, for video editing, what you've got there, you've actually probably got a really decent platform. The only thing that... Actually, no, there's not really anything on there which you could upgrade, which would make a huge amount of difference. You didn't say what processor you've got. Maybe you did earlier, but I don't recall what it is you said. If you've got something along the lines of a either like a 3700X, 3900, or a 5700, 5800, then that's actually pretty decent. The 2070 might hold you back slightly, not a great deal. I was video editing in 1080p with Adobe Premiere with very similar spec to that. I was using RTX 2060 Super with 32 gigs of RAM, and it was absolutely fine for 1080p. The only reason I changed up to my current rig really is because I started doing editing in 4K or using multiple layers on the timeline, which kind of made it slower, and rendering times were getting a bit horrendous. But that was the only reason. You could find as well, depending on your video editing software, if you just do something very simple like enable proxies in Adobe Premiere, that's it, you don't need it. That's your upgrade. Because proxies are just smaller files which are really easy to edit on the timeline, but you still get the full output at the end. So maybe you want to upgrade, maybe you don't. Again, depending on what processor you're on. Nick Byron says Borg was the 80s. I don't think they were. I think the Borg were the 90s, if at all, because it was Star Trek The Next Generation. I'm sure that was in 90... might be 96, 97. I think it was the 3rd season of Star Trek Voyager with 7 of 9.
Riley would know.
Riley should know. Or Matthew Day. Pixel Surgeon says the only downfall of this board is the second M.2 slot being Gen 3. Yeah. Rasher says, I wouldn't mind being assimilated by the 7 of 9 Borg. I'm sure Jerry Ryan would approve. Michael Ellingham says 80s. Were the Borg in the 80s? I'm sure that it was the 90s. Yeah, I'm sure the Borg were the 90s because they were in Star Trek First Contact.
1989, David Thompson.
Borg 1989. What were they in then? That wouldn't have been the Next Generation. And I'm sure the Next Generation was the first time that the Borg were seen. I could be wrong. Nick Barnes says May 1989, Star Trek Next Generation. Was that 1989? Was it really? Jesus. Well, it was almost 1990. Unbelievable. May the 8th, 1989. Wow. Star Trek Next Generation. There you go. Happy days. AI just told me. Excellent. Right. Anyway, let's move on. Let's take a look at this motherboard because time is going to run away with us, and as it always do, and I'll just end up yapping. So I'm not going to go too far into the unboxing experience. This was an actual bargain because normally this is about £107 here in the UK at the moment. It does fluctuate a little bit. Sometimes it's 99, sometimes it's 110. I've seen it a little bit higher, like 120, but generally it settles down. £99 is a great price if you can get it for that. 107, I think it's as near as damn it. The extra £7 isn't the end of the world, but you do get a nice board. This is actually an Amazon warehouse return. So I'm not too sure what state this board is actually going to be in. It might be dead. I don't know. Let's get rid of the chat on there. And actually, let's go to the overhead camera. We'll have a look, see what's going on here. So packaging wise, I would say it looks, well, yeah. Arguably, I think that looks absolutely brand spanking new. Looks in very good condition. Let's take out the top layer and see what is going on in terms of accessories. So this appears to be, I would say it's yeah, that looks unused. So we've got our motherboard guide, no weird folds or creases, actually looks pristine. Still got our MSI stick-on badge logo. We've also got the thank you for choosing an MSI product. We've got our installation DVD with the drivers on. We've got a pair of SATA cables, and also there is yeah, that's never been opened. There are 3 M.2 screws in there. Why you'd have 3, I don't know. Because I don't think... Yeah, you don't need 3. Anyway, it looks like it's brand new. But it was Amazon Warehouse. I actually paid £85 for this. So I am particularly pleased because £85 for a B550 Gaming Plus motherboard is cracking value for money. That is if it actually works, which we don't really know. Actually, yeah, that was still stuck down. This does look, it looks like it's brand new. And yeah, that's never been used. So this is either completely dead on arrival, or it's just someone sent it back because they bought the wrong thing. So it can't be sold as new. You do often get that with Amazon, especially buying warehouse stuff. That, yeah, actually look at the socket. The socket has never been touched. There's not a mark on it, and all the RAM slots are in the down position. Do a quick visual inspection on the pins. So addressable RGB looks fine. All the headers there are fine. Yeah, I don't think this has ever been used. Yeah, the pins on the bottom, they're all in good condition. Just doing a quick visual along there. JRGB, JCI. Yeah, I don't think this has ever been touched. There was a tiny speck of dust on the RAM slot. I think this is a brand new board. Rick H says £85, that's heavy for a motherboard. Heavy for a human. So, what we've got here. So, when it comes to the AIO, it's actually not too bad, the AIO. So you've got the combo keyboard mouse port on PS2, which is a little bit unnecessary, I think, but you never know, someone might find a use for it. BOS flashback button, which is actually very recessed on there. You can't even press it. Let's make sure that does actually click, because that could be the problem, that someone's tried to flash the BOS and it won't flash. So yeah, can you hear that? There's definitely a click there, so that's good. Yeah, USBs, you've got 2 USB 2.0s there, you've got another 2 USB 2.0s there, so 4 of those. You've got 2 super speed ports, so 5 gigabit per second, USB 3.0. Then you've got 2 USB 3.2 Gen 2s, so 10 gigabit per second. And you've got a Type A and a Type C. Now, Type C port isn't always guaranteed on modern boards, so it's nice to see that. Slight downside, gigabit LAN. I would have preferred to see 2.5 gig LAN, personally, but very few people these days actually have 2.5 gigabit Ethernet in their house. Although I think that is going to be coming to a change. Well, yeah, it's going to change pretty soon, because Wi-Fi, LAN, the internet in general is getting quicker. We're getting above gigabit speeds now, so maybe you'll need a 2.5 gig LAN at some point, but anyway, 1 gig's fine. When it comes to the audio, so you've got Realtek ALC 897 on here, or 892/897, depending on the revision that's available. Optical outputs and your analog ones as well. Hi, Flame. So yeah, pretty nice. It looks like it's brand spanking new. One way of telling is if we take off the M.2 heat shield and we'll have a look at there. Normally there'll be some sort of indentation where the screw in the middle is. Didn't quite undo that. So this could be a factory refurb, because that isn't the stock MSI thermal pad or the stock protective layer. Normally it's a clear one with white MSI writing on it. So that is the only thing at the moment which says to me that this isn't 100% brand new. I think it's potentially refurbished, but it looks too nice to be refurbished. Everything on it just looks absolutely stunning. It's in such good condition, it's untrue. There's basically not a speck of dust on it other than that tiny bit on the RAM, which I may have introduced. It looks absolutely spectacularly new. Spectacular is my favourite word these days. I use it a lot. Which is nice for things to be spectacular. Right, let's get this back into position. And we'll have a look. Cool Cat says, my new M.2 cover had a blue plastic on it, Mike. Ah, that is interesting. Maybe that is what they're using now then. AJ says, all protective foils have already been removed on that board. I'm not too sure where else there is protective foils on there. They don't normally have it on the M.2, on the VRM heatsink. Sometimes they have one on the back on the AIO shield. Sometimes, but not always. So yeah, I don't know. I wonder if it actually works. I should test it really. Yeah, maybe they have removed it, but it doesn't look like it's been touched. That's what's really weird. It just looks in such good condition. Even if I've tried to resell a board that I've used, I would never get it looking as nice as this. God knows I try. There's no sign of thermal paste anywhere either. No, nothing there. Pixel Surgeon says I had no shields on mine. William Bodie says, question, did you make a USB BIOS update? I haven't on this. I have done the how to update the board, I think. Actually, I'm not sure if I have. O'Reilly says, get some fingerprint dust and see how many hands have handled it. That's not a bad idea. So, I don't know whether... what I should do. Actually, something I should do, which is very, very important, which I haven't done yet. So, like I said, we have got a 3D printer. So I actually made this. I didn't design it. This is a design which I actually downloaded, which comes into these 3 sections. So you've got 2 legs and a cross brace, all of which made with Bambulabs PLA Basic, just a white filament. The infill, I'm not sure what the infill percentage is. It was basically whatever the default settings were. But this all just clips together, just like a friction fit on there. And I'm surprised actually how strong these 3D printed parts actually are. When they've cooled down, they're actually very good.
I've done a BIOS tutorial. It's how he discovered our channel.
Oh, right, okay. Nice one. So the theory is this has got a little ledge at the bottom. Ooh. That is leaning back a little bit further than I would have liked to. But it's a start.
You get a warranty on warehouse stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, you still get a warranty with with the...
Archer says...
Sometimes, it depends what you get. Sometimes you get a 30-day warranty with those returns. But by law, because it's sold as a retail product to a retail customer, it has to have at least a year's warranty. Yeah, so that is that's the design. I want to actually make it. I need to redo this. I'm not too sure how to do it. I'm sure there's very educated people that can do it, but I actually want to redesign this with those uprights being more, well, upright. So maybe kind of like that angle, because I want the board to stand, I think probably about there. So almost upright. But then I probably could just print out a couple of extra bits or wedges to go in there. Maybe some sort of pins or something. Because it's much easier to support the motherboard when it's higher up, because the weight is coming down. Whereas when you're doing it like this, the weight is obviously trying to go backwards, and being that the top of the motherboard is the heaviest part, it's really putting a bit of pressure on that plastic. It's stable, it's not going to fall over, but I think I would feel happier if I redesigned it and had it kind of up like that. But this is the first time I've actually tried this motherboard stand. And it's actually quite cool that there is a little lip or a little indent at the very bottom. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this on the camera, but there is actually a little notch at the bottom on each side. So the PCB actually goes into there and kind of locks in. So that also gives it a little bit more strength. Yeah, I like that. And the fact that it is something which has been 3D printed with our own 3D printer is very cool. Chris says you need to learn Fusion 360 now, Mike. God. Rasher says I sit corrected. Oh, nothing. I think it's... There are some... It depends again where you are in the world as well. Some regions don't have the same warranty policy. I think in Europe it's slightly better if you buy from Amazon Wares. I think you get the full 2 years as you do with retail purchases. But in the UK I think you're limited to 30 days of free returns and kind of normal no questions asked warranty. If it goes beyond the 30 days, I think you have to request an RMA, which may go back to the motherboard manufacturer rather than Amazon. So you still get a warranty, or at least I'm pretty sure you do. I need to look into that and double check. Nikos says hello from Greece. How you doing? I have this board from 2021, which is actually when I reviewed it, June 16th, 2021. It works very good with 5900X and 4070 Ti MSI Gaming X Trio, very nice. G-Skill Trident Trident Z, sorry, 3600 2x16 dual channel. Nice. Irie Wolfman says put it in the CTE position. That's actually a good idea. That didn't cross my mind. Actually, there's a bit of a notch on these boards, so that might be difficult. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there's a cutout notch there where the SATA ports are. But yeah, that's a bit less stressful. Actually, that would be quite good for filming when I'm doing the panning along the bottom side, or the bottom edge. Excellent stuff. Anyway, I'm pretty happy with that. Obviously, other things that I've 3D printed this week. The keyboard stand, which has been annoying some people in the background. So let's take that off. These were actually very, very simple indeed. So as you can see, it's a very, very easy design to do. Basically, it's an L shape inside of another L shape. And you can get ones where they're kind of solid or put together. But I wanted a bit of flexibility because sometimes we do like a 60% keyboard, sometimes we'll do a full-size keyboard. So it's nice to be able to just have one that moves around. Something else I would like to have done, which I probably need to order actually, is some sticky rubber pads. Just get a sheet, like an A4 size sheet of sticky pads, and just put some foam on the bottom just to stop them kind of sliding around, which is a bit of a pain. So yeah, these are pretty nice. Not ideal for this keyboard because it's got a little bit of a weird slant on there, but yeah, you get the general idea. And yeah, I'm pretty pleased. For filming B-roll, it's really handy because normally what I have to do is just literally like try and film with one hand on the camera, the other hand trying to hold the keyboard, and I normally, oh shit, I normally do kind of like this sort of thing to wobble it. Then when you do that, because it's one-handed and it's quite a long thing, you get like the shakes a little bit. Then I shake the table and then I shake the camera. So hopefully this will make my life a little easier. Randy says a keyboard stand for me would be much taller. Well, that's it. Yeah, that's the beauty of this. There's so many different designs and versions you can get. There's one you can get like a laptop stand, so you can put your laptop on the top, keyboard underneath to pack things away however you want to do it. It's pretty good. Dutch Jan says make a rotating one. That's not a bad idea. Nick Barnes says it must hurt your wrists when typing though. Yeah, it probably would.
Are you drinking your own piss? They want to know.
Am I drinking my own piss? No, that's in the other bottle. This is not my piss. This is other people's piss. This is health stuff. This is, what is it called? Water kefir. It's some sort of grain which has been fermented. So it's got healthy gut bacteria. Like the sort of stuff you have in like those yogurts that say they've got probiotic. Thank you, Kath. It's good job, Kath's here.
But as we don't have caffeine, it's a nice fizzy drink.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically, it's fizzy sugar water, a bit, essentially.
But the bacteria's eating the sugar.
The sugar goes in, the fermentation process, the bacteria eats the sugar, and yeah, it's quite nice. It's actually quite refreshing. It's got quite a nice taste to it.
It's a bit like ginger beer, to be honest.
It is very much like ginger beer. Right, I'm going to put these back. And it's good for me up here as well because I can put my mouse on charge, put the keyboard on there, and if I'm doing like B-roll, I can put my other keyboard and mouse up here, or if I'm recording something, so I can have like this keyboard for my OBS for on the PC, and this I can use to, maybe if I've got a motherboard, I've got it plugged into the capture card. So I've got room for 2 keyboards and mice on the desk now with that stand, which again, it's not the end of the world, and it's not like a big deal, but it's really helpful. I'm going to go and get the other things I've printed as well. So you can... Hey Patrick! I will, if I can find it. Actually, I'm sure I'm missing something else. It's in that box. Let's see it. Right, I might as well do these up close so you can see what they are. So, I printed out a cat toy. You can see it's got cat hair. So this is basically a spring toy made out of plastic. Doesn't spring as such.
But they do like
it's springy, and it's actually quite strong. You'd think it would snap, but
they chew on it and it doesn't break.
It's actually pretty cool. It doesn't break. The cats chew on it, and it's absolutely fine. And yeah, it's a little bit of a waste, really, but it is okay. There is the there is a name for this thing. I can't think what it's called now. But there you go. That's the little. Let me get out of the way of the light so you can see. That actually printed in a very quick time. This is one that you use for like benchmarking. Let's call it Benchy. Benchy the boat, I think, is it? Someone will have to let me know in the comments. I think it is called Benchy. Yeah, Benchy. So yeah, that was all right. The only thing I didn't come out very well is the top bit there. There's a little bit of a jaggy on the top. But yeah, overall, I was quite impressed. That was our first print. Yeah, hi Patrick. Now, when you buy the bamboo unit, there's also built-in programs that you can do. Now, they actually sell you, or they give you, this scraper, like the blade and those 2 screws, but they don't give you the handle or like a cover for it. So they've actually got it built in. This is made up of 2 parts. So you've got the handle itself, then you've got this bit at the top which screws in through there. So this is for scraping things off of the flatbed. Then you've got the actual holder. So that goes in there, and you can just put that on your desk or next to your printer. So when you've got a print which is finished, you just scrape it off, and it's all good. They also send this. I haven't opened this yet. This is a clock component kit, so you can actually make a clock, 3D printed clock. And they send you the components. That is like a free gift that comes with it. I think there's a group of about 4 different things which you can potentially receive. And I've not opened this yet, so I have no idea what's in here. Oh yeah, so you've got the clock components, so you've got the minute, hour and second hands. And then, well, I'm not going to open that, but that is basically the clock mechanism, which we've all seen like on IKEA clocks and that sort of stuff. And there's some gaskets and washers and what have you. And also the instructions. So how to put it all together. There's going to be a QR code, no doubt, somewhere, I guess. And then you just go to Make a World, type in stuff, and yeah. It's pretty cool. Get it for nothing, so can't really argue with getting something for nothing, can you? And it's very much luck of the draw. I don't think you can actually choose which one you get. They just send you like a random kit and go, there you go, thank you for buying a printer. Have a treat. I think there's like a mouse. That would have probably been better. Yeah, there's a mouse you can get, like a wireless mouse. Yeah, that's nice. And in there you've got all your accessories that come with it. So you've got spanners and all kinds of things. But yeah, it's an interesting little gadget-y gizmo. I'll go and grab it now and you can have a look and you can see what you think of it. It's quite an interesting little thing. So, there it is. There is the Bambulabs A1 Mini. And I wonder if that cable is long enough. Might be. I'm not too sure if it's going to be too loud if I do any demonstrations, but we'll see. It's got one built in, but it's basically rubbish. The resolution is very low and it's only like mini frames per second, but that's the good thing about Jesus, I forgot it did that. That scared me. Didn't even say bang. Now apparently, I don't know whether this is true or not, but I've been told, or at least someone said, that this actually hasn't got any speaker in it or any way that it can actually make noises. Those noises are from the vibrating of the motors. Whether that's true or not, I couldn't tell you. Maybe if someone in the comments knows, you could let me know. But yeah, it's a cool bit of kit. So on the back you got the wiper for the nozzle. You've got this gantry. You can move this around, blah blah blah. Probably needs lubricating actually, because I haven't done that very well yet. Need to give it some maintenance. But yeah, so you get your spool of filament on the side here, which gets fed up through this PTFE tube into the, I think that's called the extruder. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, I don't know. There's also some things that you can print out for this, like accessories, which help you get started. So one of which is this little tool here, which is for actually helping to remove these PTFE tubes. So you just push that down and then that's supposed to release it. Yeah, there we go. So these are kind of like push fit connections. So you have to push that down. Same for there. So if you ever get a blockage or jam or you just want to change it, you can use that. There's also a little dust cover, which I printed as well, which this can potentially use up to 4 different colors at the same time. Well, spools that are connected. So there's a little dust cover. So I printed that out. There's little things like that, which is actually quite cool because some people might not want to use those things, but you've got the option, you can print them out if you want to. It's all touchscreen control on this little control pad here. There's also an app as well, which I've got on my phone, and you can use the Bamboo Studio application as well. You can download programs from places like Make a World, Thingiverse, Printables. No doubt there's other places as well. I'm still kind of learning as I go with it. The screen itself, there's a few built-in things as well. So let's see if there's something on here that I can quickly do. Actually, I haven't taken that bit of plastic off of there. So this is the the hotbed.
How big is the printing surface?
Printing surface is 180 by 180 millimeters, that is. Yeah, so the print bed size isn't very big, but this is very compact for what it is. Now, I would, after using this, I think I should have gone for a slightly larger one, but it's larger, more expensive, etc., etc. So it's not always ideal. And I'm pretty sure, I could be completely wrong with this, but I'm pretty sure if there's a design which is bigger than your bed, you can just split it up into separate components and then join it together, either with glue, or you can actually integrate it in your design. So there's like little clips or something which hold stuff together. Now there's actually an ATX PC case which has been done on Maker Unit very recently on their channel, which uses a 180 by 180 bed to make up a full ATX tower case. And you basically print out 4 panels on each side and join them together.
Patrick LaBelle back the speaker.
Where is that? Like, why can't I scroll? Have I pressed something wrong here? There we go. My text has stopped working. Patrick LaBelle. Yes, no speaker. They will make this feature available for my X1C. Bamboo Engineer are from DJI Drone Company, so I guess they know a thing or two about stepper motors. Right. So yeah, there's no actual speaker, so that noise or the sound which comes out of it.
To do the camera?
Yeah. Wonder if that's a DJI Osmo camera in there. I don't think it is. It's rubbish. Anyway, let's get one of these going so you can see what it's like. So if we go into print files, and what have we got on here? You've got the GPU anti-sag bracket. So anything you've printed previously, there's an SD card built in, and it just stays in there, which is kind of nice.
You can have another 5 of those printers if you want.
I can have another 5?
Yeah, because Chris Hartford says 3D printers are like cats. You'll end up with loads. So
Oh right, yeah, I think it probably will be.
5 to equal mine.
What's that? Keyboard stand, cool toy,
5 more.
bed scraper. There's a bag clip. I'm not sure what the bag clip is. Is that for one of these like Ziploc bags? Ah, that's the one I was going to do. The pocket copter. It's a strange thing. It's a pocket copter, so.
That sounds really.
Oh, actually, no, that's the one that you've got to pull the zip through. I didn't want that one. I wanted the click one. Let me see if I can find it on my phone very quickly. Where's my phone? I want something nice and quick so this can be over and done with. Is it in Bamboo Handy? Not sure if you can do it in Bamboo Handy, whether I've got to do it actually. Oh yeah. Click. Click spinner, is it? What are those little helicopter things that you put in your fingers and they just take off? What about spinner? Spinner. Sure, I've seen it somewhere. Copter. Let's try copter. Pocket copter. Oh god, there's loads. Right, maybe I won't do that one. Copter toy. Sure, I've seen this. There's a tiny little thing which you just click in your fingers and it takes off. Spring loaded. No, no, no. Oh god. Why can't I find it? Let's have a look. Boosts.
Why don't you do a reusable zip tie?
A reusable zip tie. I think you can do that.
There is that. Didn't just make it up.
Oh, I thought you made it actual
No,
up.
not me. I did see that helicopter thing you were talking about.
Yeah. I'm sure it's called a click spin. What's that when you do that? Snap spinner. Snap. Oh, come on. Snapcopter. Right. Snap helicopter. Don't make me spell it out. The whole bloody thing. Helicopter. Come on, this should be a lot easier. I would suggest if you do find something which is cool and you like it, actually save it somewhere. No. Flying maple. No. Oh, you can't find it. Actually, how long does that take? Yeah, that one takes an hour to do the one I've got on there, so I'm not going to do that. So we'll go back. Whistle pan flute. 3 hours and I'm not doing that. You shove that right up your arse. Tell you what, I'll do another one of those PTFE tube things. How long does that take?
A what?
11 minutes, that'll do. So this is basically another one of those, so I can have one of those in case I lose it or something. Yeah. So that music is coming from the stepper motors. I honestly don't understand how that is even possible. I guess it is because you've heard those floppy drive concerts that you can get, but anyway. Now this might vibrate the desk a little bit too much, so potentially we may have to abort and I might actually lose the motherboard, but we'll see what's going on. AIO Cooler says, is the beeping noise coming from the fan on the rear at startup, going full speed then off again? No, it's literally the stepper motors, I believe. It's yeah, it's phenomenal. So at the moment it's warming up the heat bed. It's doing a vibration test. The thing about this printer as well, it's designed to be as kind of simple as possible. It does make it a little bit longer to run, but you can change it. So it does like a bed leveling. It also does anti-vibration thing, and it's really important with these to get the bed absolutely level, because otherwise the print is not going to work. So when it starts, it goes around and it does a kind of sample everywhere, like dot and dab around to see where, like if it's uneven, and it will adjust itself accordingly. So that's head cleaning. Send it to me. Just send me a link to it if you want from the desktop. So yeah, this might be Discord will be right. So what's it doing now? It does tell you on the screen what it's doing. Actually, let me see if I can get you a close-up of the screen. Although if this starts up all of a sudden, I might crap myself and drop the whole lot. So there's the screen, tells you exactly what's going on, what it's doing. So currently it's heating the bed. It's currently at 48 degrees C. So yeah, heating or heated bed preheating, because it actually gets this bit here warm. So not only does the filament come out of there warm, this bed is also warmed up as well. Yeah, it tells you temperatures and stuff there. There's a little LED. So you can turn a light on there so you can see what's going on. That's more for if you're using the camera for recording, because there's actually a camera just underneath that LED, which you may or may not be able to see. So yeah, there's an LED light and there's a camera next to it, so that does time-lapse photography. Although it's probably not of a high enough quality to actually really call it photography, but it's okay, it's cool. Like I say, I'm very much trying to get used to this and working out what I can and can't do and what I'm capable of. Oh, that's the other thing I've made. Sorry, I didn't mention this. Another thing I made is actually in here, which no one's noticed yet. So our RTX GeForce card has actually got its own 3D printed support, which was made by us. So there is a 3D printed GPU support. So it's threaded, so you can have a very big height on it. The tolerance on the thread isn't brilliant, but I think that's more down to the design rather than the printer. But yeah, it's quite astounding that you can actually print these things out and just essentially make what you want. I wanted to do one that had the Mike's Unboxing logo on the side, but I've not quite worked out how to do that because the logo needs to be converted from a JPEG or PNG into an SVG, I think. And then because the logo has the text with the boxes around the text, trying to make that into 3D layers, it's actually quite a difficult thing to do. So that may or may not happen. But we'll see. All part of the learning curve. And also there's a little gap on the bottom to attach a magnet if you wanted to.
Oh, you did get that.
So yeah, 3D printed GPU support. Which previously, in that case, it was a black one, a black metal one. So I took that out and put that in there. And I've got white filament and also black filament, so I can do for black or white cases. Or potentially if you want to do your own custom ones, you can do coloured ones at MSI, do it in red, Gigabyte, you could do in orange, all those kinds of things. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Bill Maddox, hi Mike and everyone, sorry I'm late. No worries, you never need to apologise. Carl Kidding, Mike will do a review of the Montech King 95 Pro. In 35 years of PC building, it is my fave case ever. So much room and the RGB strip. I am looking out for another Montech case to do a review on, so that might be on the list. I'll be keeping an eye on prices, seeing what's going on. Rasher says, if only there was a 3D printer expert on here. Yeah, there is, probably. If Patrick's still about.
He is about, he's listening, but that would.
Ah, right, okay.
Don't distract him.
Nick Barnes, so do you have a guard screen to keep the cats away from the heat? No. I just realised actually the window's open and it's quite cold in here. So I think it's actually cooling the bed. What does it say? Oh, now it's calibrating the extrusion. So at the moment, you can choose to turn that on or off. So it will actually calibrate the there we go, it's had a little poop. You can get it to calibrate every single time, which if you get it to calibrate every single time, it takes into account the very tiny adjustments in temperature and humidity to see how much filament it actually, that's still quite warm, to see how much comes out, and it kind of measures it. So if you do that every single time, you get a much nicer looking print, more even. If you don't care, you just want like a rough and ready, you can turn off that bit and it'll just spew it out and print it, but it may not look quite as nice. So that is still calibrating.
Johnny G, been looking at getting a 3D printer, would you recommend this one? Is there a repository designs you can print?
Yes, this, probably the Bamboo one is, I think, from what I can tell, is probably the one that most beginners are going to find a lot of kind of, it's going to be a lot easier to use because the Bamboo Studio also incorporates one of the sort of big sites for repositories for 3D prints. There's tons in there. The Bamboo Studio is actually quite easy to use and it kind of does everything all in one. So you can import your models, you can browse for models, you can keep an eye on your printer, you can do everything you want to do for the printer in the Bamboo Studio application. And it's actually been quite straightforward to do. Oh, and we've started. And you see, it's actually quite quiet. The loudest thing is the fan on the extruder to maintain temperature. It's quite quick as well. Well, it is vibrating a little bit on the desk. These IKEA desks are a little bit too lightweight. So yeah, these are, I think these are known as poop. So this is the molten plastic. It's still quite hot, so I shouldn't really be holding it. It's quite warm. But yeah, it shoots those out of the side. But of course, being this is a Bamboo thing and it's designed for these sorts of creative people, everybody and their uncle has designed some sort of poop chute to go on the side to catch all these little bits of plastic. And I think some people actually get the plastic and melt it back down again to make filament. Incredible. There is a little bit of wastage when it comes to the filament, but saying that, we've printed about 5 or 6 things already, and you can barely see anything that's gone off the spool. It doesn't seem to have used hardly any. Buffering? We buffering? O'Reilly says, can you cook an egg on it? It's actually quite warm, that bed. It's about 64 degrees. So it's warm. It's like a radiator to touch. It won't scald you or anything, but obviously you probably wouldn't want pets or children touching it or prolonged contact with it, because it's like very hot water from the tap.
But the cats are scared of it. So
yeah, the cats don't like it. Turn it on, they disappear. But it's actually quite quiet, isn't it? The noise is probably worse on the other side, I think. Trying to work out where the airflow comes out. Anyway, so you can see it doing this thing. This little print, this little tool, it should take about 11 minutes in total. And at the moment it says on there, it's doing layer 19 of 50, and it's 74%. Rasher has been a member for 33 months. That's a very satanic number. Thank you very much for your continued support. Nick Barnes says, yeah, a loud advert, then buffered 5 seconds here too. Oh, my apologies. The Pixel Surgeon says, do you recommend always supporting a GPU? If you're using a traditional GPU, I would say probably worth doing. Even smaller ones, it probably is worth doing. It's relieve stress on the PCI Express slot. The newer versions, the BTF ones, like in our ASUS BTF motherboard, back to front, because the PCI Express power connection... Oh, is it? Sorry. Yeah, it will, because the camera's on a tripod on the desk, so... you have to put up with that a little bit, I'm afraid, sorry. I'll try and put some weight on here. I've got lots of weight. Yeah, because those graphics cards are kind of self-supported, not as important, but certainly it probably is worth doing, to be fair. Ira Wolfman says, I have premium, so shouldn't get ads. Yeah, if you've got premium, you shouldn't get them at all. If you're logged into your account, you shouldn't. Mookie MC says, the poop is actually the purge that gets the extruder and hot end clear and ready to print. Cool. O'Reilly says, not had any adverts yet. But I have done things with my YouTube account in the last 24 hours. Oh, that's done. Mark Barry says, I've had 2 ads so far. That's not too bad. Happy birthday to your daughter, Rasher, on her 22nd birthday. That blows my mind, how it can make that noise, but there's nothing in there to make that noise. It's just the motors vibrating. That's ridiculous. Very cool though. Dutch Jan says no ads here. O'Reilly says that is a speaker. It's not. There, legitimately, there isn't a speaker. That is what I've been told, that there is not a speaker in here, and all of the noise is generated by the stepper motors vibrating. O'Reilly says, I do not believe that is a sound from a motor. Honestly, well, I don't know where they'd even put a speaker, because that bit in there is all kind of motors and heated stuff. I don't know where they'd put a speaker. And I'm pretty sure people have taken this apart to see if there is a speaker, and apparently there isn't. It says on here you can choose to repeat, but no, I'm printing as completed, and that took 11 minutes and that's probably still quite warm. So when your print is done, you lift this bit up, the magnetic bit, and this is still quite toasty.
Do you need your bog brush?
So yeah, you can use the bog brush. How hot is it? I don't know if that's too hot to put on. Oh, sorry, the mouse might be fine. So you get your little scraper tool, and you can just get underneath there, and there we go. And there is our finished little tool. I'll give you a close-up of that.
What's it for? Oh, that tool.
So this is for, you can make these as well for plumbing fittings for around the house. So if you've got any of those push-fit plumbing fittings, you can get one of these which is just a little bit bigger, which will do that. But it's actually pretty cool. And the you've got the textured side there. That's textured because that's a textured bed that it's been on. But actually the other side of it you can see is, well hopefully you can, is actually very smooth indeed. You can just about make out the lines on it. Yeah. So again, it can be quite useful if you've got a use for it and you're making parts. A lot of the stuff you can find actually online, especially things like motherboard, IO shields, most IKEA stuff. If you've got, for instance, a Tula roof rack or Thule tooth rack, if you've got a Thule roof rack on your car and you've lost any of the parts like the end caps or maybe the T-track sliding bars, that sort of stuff, you can print those out. Essentially, there's probably something for everybody, but also you've got the option of you can design your own as well, or ask someone to design you something, which again is very cool. Things like hinges you can make very easily, and they're actually quite strong. You can make like wall mounts for various things, because the PLA plastic actually seems to be pretty strong. What am I looking at?
Apparently it's a flick. Where has it gone? You talk so much. A flick flyer. Looking for.
Flick flyer, that's it.
And I don't know if that's what Williams put in.
Apparently I shouldn't scrape that. Charles Ballard says, Mike, that is a removable flex mat you're printing on. Don't use the scraper, you'll scratch it. Just flex the mat a bit. It does flex, yeah. I have done that.
But it didn't come off, did it?
But there's bits on the side there. Oh, that comes off. If you leave it long enough when it's cooled down, everything comes off it anyway. So, yeah, it's just me rushing. But like it with anything, all of this stuff is very easy and pretty cheap to replace. So you can pick these mats up. The genuine ones from Bamboo are about 10 quid, 12 quid. You can buy one like AliExpress for like a fiver or something. Whether or not they're the same ones, I don't know, but I'm guessing they might be. And yeah, you can get different textured ones for different types of materials. But yeah, overall it's a pretty cool little device. I'm pretty happy with it. Did you find the flick spinner? The flick thing?
No, William Booty's put a link on there.
Oh, right, okay. What's it called? A flick?
Oh, he's done.
Flick. Is it a flick toy?
Oh, this is.
Oh, yeah, the flick flyer. There we go. Right, flick flyer.
This is how you can program your motor. Put in there.
Ah, that's cool. Right, so in the application, if you go into stuff, you can go in and see what it is, and if you want to print it, just prepare to print, and it selects your printer profile and all that kind of stuff, printer model, and go through. So A1 Mini, and we're going to do that one. And the designer's put some stuff there. There's also some different ones, better adhesion. You can just choose whichever one you want to do. So we're going to choose that one because that's in green, or you can choose that one. And print plates, just click on next. Prepare to print. Alright, so you've got to confirm your thing. So PLA, use external spool. And my filament, so you've got to tell it what sort of filament you're using. So I'm using Bamboo and I'm using PLA Basic. And that is pretty much it. So you've got the choice for bed leveling, flow calibration. So I'm going to turn off flow calibration and we'll just do bed leveling. I think that's a good idea. And I won't bother time lapse. And start print. So now sending the job to the printer. Well, actually, it actually sends the job to the cloud, and then the cloud sends the job to the printer. So if you want to send a job to the printer, you don't have to worry about having your PC left on all the hours or your phone being tied up, because it just sends the job to the cloud and that's it. It's just done over Wi-Fi. So yeah, it's pretty cool. This should take about 13 minutes, so do bear with us.
I read 14.
Alright. It says on the front 13, but
That's probably getting it.
I haven't got a timer. What time's it now? 8 minutes
William
past.
says,
Thanks for that, William Bodie.
to get you to have a look. For MIDI files, you must have a speaker.
Is it a MIDI file?
No. Yeah. There's a link in the chat.
Oh, right.
Click on it and you can look.
Okay. Here goes the bed leveling. Rasha says, I have to get a 3D printer to add to my many tech items I don't really need, but they make really cool noises and are amazing. It's quite good actually, because I normally leave this set up in the other room on the spare table, and I do all the work on the computer in here and just send the print to it, go in there, make sure that it's started off, or you don't even have to, because you can open up the app. And actually, I wonder if I can do it on here and show you. So if we go to devices, actually yeah, I can do it there. So you can press play on the app, and there you go. There is it gives you a display of what's going on. So it goes through, it tells you what's happening, process, and also you get a live feed from the camera. Although it is very slow, the camera is like every second or two. But it's quite good for keeping an eye on it. And also the camera, from what I can gather, actually has the facility in it so that if the camera detects there's like a bunch of crap on there, which shouldn't be there, it will actually halt the print and send you a warning. So you don't have to kind of keep on babying it, so to speak. Which I think is actually, again, it's very cool. I'm wishing now, when I did this, there's a version you can get of this which actually clips on to the back, I think, somewhere.
It buffered again. Is
Which
it a
one
3D printer? Might well be, mightn't it, if you're using Wi-Fi.
It could be, but it shouldn't.
But if you were just putting a job in, maybe it...
It's only a very small file, I think. The actual file sizes are tiny. As far as I know they are, anyway.
Yeah, but it's all your other data taken.
Johnny G says that 3D printer is pretty cool. William says, make Mike look at the link. Let's have a look then. MIDI to A1. Oh right, so you can take a MIDI file and convert that to stepper motor music. I just want my... Import the MIDI file if you want to create your own step. Right, I might have to get it to do... Is it Canyon? Canyon.mid, which is the one of the Windows built-in ones. I wonder if I can do that. Click on the File tab. Edit MIDI file. Allocate. Actually, I should put this on the screen so you can see it.
Might be a power related, not the internet.
Could be, yeah. So there you go, Bambulabs Wiki. So MIDI to A1 Mini user guide. The A1 Mini can be used to play electronic music without speakers. This wiki describes how to play MIDI files with the A1 Mini. So there you go. Play electronic music without speakers. So yeah, you basically set it up, Bambulabs, you can create your own music, and it must... right, yeah. So you can customize the start and finish sound. That's interesting. So these references here, I'm guessing those will be telling the motors what to do and where to be, what position to be in. So you can save it, save machine as. That's actually quite interesting. Yeah, as the printer is playing music using the vibration of its motor instead of using speakers, each motor can only play one frequency at a time. If there are multiple tones on one track at the same time, the motor assigned to that track can't play all the notes, thus leading to an end result that sounds like nothing that you heard in the MIDI editor. We'd advise you to avoid using this kind of MIDI file. If you must use it, please use the editor to separate different musical compositions into different tracks and assign each track to a different motor to get a better result. Absolutely fascinating. Thank you for that link, William. That is awesome. Does that work? We back on there?
And
Yes.
Shavey says race quads can be programmed to play tunes with the motors through the electronic speed controllers.
That's incredible. I like that. Oh, come on. Where's my thing not working now? There we go. So I looked that up. Mookie MC, does that printer have a filament runout sensor? I'm not entirely sure what that is, if I'm honest. I know there is some kind of gizmo in here which tells you, or it knows when there's filament in there or when it's not. Because when you're loading up for the first time, you push it in and it says like push a little bit more because it's not hit the sensor. So I'm guessing if it runs out it would do, but I'm not sure. No, that's done. That looks rubbish. But it's a cool little thing. We're just messing around here. It can't be not a speaker, but it isn't a speaker. We've read it. It says definitely it is stepper motors. So yeah, apparently this is the thing. It is quite cool. I like it. Mark Berry says Mike has become Mr. Maker, lol. It is actually quite addictive because you start doing things and then it's like, oh, this is great. Sound is just a vibration, so you don't need speakers. That is true. That is very true. Sound is a vibration. That's why no one can hear you scream in space. Allegedly. I've never been there, so I couldn't tell you. So yeah. It's an interesting toy stroke tool. I quite like the idea of, like, towards the end of the year, printing out a bunch of Mike's Unboxing key rings or something, or some GPU stands to give away to viewers. I think that's the kind of thing that I'm going to end up doing with it. And also probably if I break something on a motherboard, or I need to cover something, or lose an IO shield, that kind of thing, around the house is going to be quite useful as well. There's certain things, I think it's one of the IKEA stacking systems or shelving systems. There's all kinds of bits you can print out for that, like hooks and organizers, tool organizers. Ultimately, I guess it's going to come down to how much ability you have to design your own things, or just looking around for things which you find to be interesting that you want to print. But overall, it's good. I don't know the address. What's the address of it? What's it called?
Maisie the Balinese.
Is it? You sure?
Pretty sure.
My daughter has just messaged and said I've got to give her TikTok videos a shout, or TikTok channel. It's called Maisie the Balinese. It's a cat-based channel, so if you're into cats, go onto TikTok. If you have that on your phone or whatever, is it desktop app? I think it's just on the phone. But yeah, head over to TikTok and look for Maisie. That's M-A-I-S-E-Y.
M-A-I-S-E-Y.
S-E-Y. M-A-I-S-E-Y. The Balinese. No idea how you spell that, so you're on your own with that one. But head over to there. That's our daughter's TikTok channel, and you can give it a like or follow or whatever TikTokers do. I don't know. It all helps. Johnny G says, is that the A1 Mini? Yes, it is. Currently, I think it's £169 on the Bambulabs website. Let me have a quick look. I'm pretty sure it is. Have I typed that in there recently? No, I haven't.
You have to sing to yourself the old.
The old bamboo. Yeah, it's their Bambulabs store. It's their 2nd anniversary. So yeah, there we go. Let's have a look. I'll get you on the desktop stream desktop. There you go. So there's the A1 3D printers. Let's go with the A1 Mini. Click on buy. I'm pretty sure it's the same price. So that is the one with the AMS unit. So you can have 4 spools at the same time. So you can do multicolored prints easily. Full auto calibration, 4 color printing, blah, blah, blah. If you go with the A1 Mini, that's currently down to $199. So that works out £169, I believe.
So we both would be getting one.
I think that's what we paid. Thailand, ship to... Actually, let's have the UK. Let's see what the UK price is. So yeah, the AMS one's $299. Go with the A1 Mini, $169.99. And also, when you're buying, you can buy these add-ons, and you get like 20% off or 30% off. So I bought some PLA Basic. I bought the black and also the white. They're normally about 14, 15 quid. I think I paid about 10 or 12 or something. So yeah, it's a cool bit of kit. You can make dioramas. You can check out the information anyway. Active motor noise cancelling, because it is actually quite cool. Quite quiet. And it's also plug and play, so basically it's built when you get it. So other than some packing foam, it's pretty much ready to go. And there's the technical information, should you want to use it. And there's also, obviously there's going to be tons and tons of videos out there, so I think the A1 Mini is one of those printers where it's grabbed a lot of people's attention due to the price, I guess, predominantly. I'm going to do this properly now. I'm not going to scrape the bed. It's still actually quite warm, and yeah, that's got to the point where I can put my hand on it and it just feels like a nice warm radiator. It wouldn't burn you or scald you. If you put something sensitive, like, I don't know, maybe you dropped your... No. If you put your elbow or your ear on it or something sensitive, then it might be a little bit uncomfortable, but yeah, see, it's not made my hand go red or anything. It just feels nice and warm. Bit like a hot mug. If you're drinking a drink, it feels like a hot mug. And this is pretty much cooled right down now. So just give it a little flex. You can hear it creaking. Ironically, the bigger the item is, the easier it is to actually get off. And there we go. Just a little... And there we go. There is our little flick spinner.
I've got to watch my eyes now.
Yeah, watch out. Now, which way's it got to go? I don't know. That way. So. Yay! We made a thing and it flew a little bit. Kath just lobbed it. Oh, no. It's definitely the other way. Hey, well, there we go.
Can't find it now.
It's on the chair. So, you can make some interesting things. Scissor noise. Roderick Kenny says, lovely bit of kit that is. You can expand the A1 Mini later. Yeah, you can actually add on the AMS kit. I think it's called an AMS kit. So then you can expand it to the 4 colours. If you're looking to do things like promotional stuff or more practical, then the AMS unit probably is worthwhile looking at, because then you can have the multiple colours. If you're trying to do things like logos, like for us doing the Mike's Unboxing logo, really needs the colours, because it's hard to do in 3 dimensions, so you need to be able to change the colours. So it would have been ideal to do that, but to double, or just over double the price for the AMS unit on the side, and also the extra bulk. I actually have no idea how big this was going to be, because you know what it's like, you read the instructions and you read the manuals and you look at what it says it comes, but if someone says something's like 16 inches or something, you've got a vague recollection, but until you actually get it in front of you, you don't quite quite realise how bulky it's going to be. Actually, I think it's very cool. It's very compact. Generally, after a little while, it kind of goes to sleep. So if you want to, oh, there we go. How about that for timing? So yeah, that's the fan's gone off. The screen will go off in a minute. I'll just go into sleep mode. So yeah, you can just leave it as it is, leave it running for ages. Go to bed, and it will basically shut itself down when it's all done. It doesn't really get hot enough to cause any real damage, I don't think. I think the extruder is about 250 degrees at the most, and that bed's probably, I don't know, 60 or 70 maybe, I'm not sure. Around that, I guess. So yeah, not any like intense heat, but you might want to keep an eye on it anyway, regardless. So anyway, printing the EMS module, it's a little bit more complicated than that, I think. I'm not too sure though. It doesn't seem to have any real electrics, but there is something which slides into the side here, I think. I think it does connect into the side with some sort of electrics there. There's an SD card on the side as well, if you're interested. Power on off is at the back, so you don't have to worry about doing anything specific to turn it off. You just turn off the power switch on the back. So if you've got it all cabled up and you haven't got access to the plug socket, you just got a little flick switch on the back, and we'll turn it back on just so you can hear the noise again. I'll be quiet and wait for it to come on. That's so cool. I do love it. It is great. So
John says you can expand the A1 Mini later. So did you just say that?
Yeah.
So you can get a bigger bed for her.
No, you can get the AMS module, so you can add on the extra spools. Yeah. Looks like the comments have stopped there, have they? AIO Wolfman says Mushroom and 3DFZ for free are popular free software options for creating a 3D model from photos. That is something which I am quite interested in doing. I'm struggling to I'm not very good at 3D modelling because I've never really done it as such. So it's all rather new to me, and it is, I guess, some people are just like lucky and they get straight into this sort of stuff, and it just, you know, clicks. But for me, it was a little bit of a struggle. But I will persevere. I'm definitely going to do the mics unboxing GPU stands, because I think that's going to be a nice little thing to do. Putting people's Christmas stock in, just to show how much I hate them. I don't hate anybody. So what time we're at? 10:30. So Firestorm says, how big can you print? Well, like I said earlier, the dimensions are 180 by 180. So and you can print up to, well, what's the maximum height of the Z-axis? I guess that's like 180, so it's like a 180 cube, so 180 millimeters or 18 centimeters. But you can, if you've got the ability and you know how to do it, you can have like interlocking panels. So if you need to make a panel which is, I don't know, 6 foot long, you can just make it so that they keep on plugging together to make the eventual length. It depends on what it is you're making, but generally you can make it up as individual smaller components. Like for instance, these motherboard mounts. If you look at that in terms of its assembled size, it's kind of pretty much, well, you might be able to do it all in one go actually, but realistically, to save time and effort and also to make it quicker, if you kind of make it into smaller component pieces, which is what I did, because originally this was actually a little bit too big for the bed, so I had to resize it. So which way did I do it? I think it was that way. Yeah, that way round. So I basically did it like that, or similar to that on the bed. So it was a lot quicker, and it just went around and did the whole thing. I think this one took about 3/4 of an hour, because there's quite a bit of plastic there really, and it's moving around a lot as well. Smaller things obviously print out much quicker. But yeah, if you've got the design knowledge, you can go into the Bamboo Studio and you can move around these things on the bed. So if there's a certain way of making it print faster, then you can basically go ahead and do that.
Oh, yeah.
So it's as a complete novice beginner, I find it to be good fun, enjoyable, and not that frustrating. There's a couple of things in the manual when you first get it which aren't entirely obvious, which like on this top bit for the extruder, because it's ready for the 4 colours, it only actually comes with 1 on this one. So it's like, well, it didn't tell me which one of these I've actually got to plug the thing into. There's 4 holes. It didn't say which ones do, and I assume there's some sort of technology in there which knows what is plugged in where, but apparently it doesn't matter. So that was like, okay, that's why they didn't say, because it basically doesn't matter. So I kind of get that. What was it? There's something else as well. Oh yeah, when I was feeding it through for the first time, it kept on coming up with an error message on there saying that it cannot sense the thing, and that the filament is in there, but you kind of like, you pull it back out, push it in, it's like, well, it's definitely there. And I could physically force feed it through when it was heating, and you could see the goo coming out the bottom. So it was definitely going through, but for some reason some sensor said that it couldn't detect it. So I just went ahead and just tried to print, and it worked. So in terms of like a novice out of the box experience, I can't say totally hand on heart that it was completely idiot proof and easy. There were some things was like, well, hang on, like I even looked on YouTube for one thing. It's like, well, which one are they actually putting it into here? And actually, when I thought I may have put this into the wrong hole, as you do, they say that there isn't actually a tool included to remove it from the wrong hole, but you can print one out. And it's like, well, that should have been included straight out of the box, because if you weren't sure and you wanted to take it out, you aren't able to print because you put it into the wrong place, or you think you put it into the wrong place. So you can't physically print something yet. So yeah, it's bizarre. And actually, I think that this, I'm pretty sure that this won't actually come out. I don't know why, but I get the feeling that that pipe won't actually come out. I'm going to try it now that I've printed the thing for it. It's a difficult thing to do because you've got to push down, get some pressure on it, but also then pull the tube out at the same time. You don't want to put too much pressure on this gantry. Yeah, that don't want to come out of there. And that is in the down position, I think. Ah, there we go. Just a bit stiff, he says. So, yes, it is in there. Yeah, that's better. I wasn't too sure if I rammed it in a little bit too hard before and it maybe melted or something. I don't know. I don't understand how it all works. But yeah, that's cool. It's a neat little toy, which can also be, I'm guessing for some people, you could use it as, well, a business expense, because if you need it to recreate parts or to mock up things, designs, etc., for something you're planning to make or build, you could use it as a business expense. And then obviously what you print out in your own home is entirely up to you. Whether it's little boats, or whether it's graphic stands, or scrapers, cat toys. Otis is loving the cat toy. He loves that little spring. It's awesome. Good morning, David Underhill.
-3 there, mind.
Okay. So print in parts. That's cool. Yeah, that's it. You can basically assemble it. Like, if you've watched the video on the 3D printed case that we did a little while back, if you do a search for Maker Unit, or on our YouTube channel, type in Maker Unit or Little Boy S, you'll see the case, and it's like basically a 3D printed case, which is made on a 3D printer very similar to this. Although the Little Boy S, unfortunately, because of the dimensions of it, I can't reprint it on here. So that is a little bit of a shame. I would have loved to be able to do some spare parts for it on this, but the bed isn't actually big enough to do that, unfortunately. But I'm sure there's a way around it. Dave Aiken says, Mike, what custom things do you want made up? I need a challenge, not the wing mirror.
I need that cat castle.
Kath wants a cat castle. I think that might be a little bit over and above what it is. Kath's going to get it now. She'll throw it in front of the lens so you can see it. That's the most excited I've seen her all stream. Cat castle! I actually want to get this design and make it more upright. So if you can help me with that, I would appreciate that.
Can't see. Is that tuned in?
focus, you mean? Yeah, let me get rid of that on the... Yeah, up a bit. There we go. There's the cat castle that Kath wants printed. So yeah, 5-minute job. I think he means 5-minute job for the for adjusting that. Dave says I can do that, but you'll need a bigger printer. Viali says, good evening, I'm sorry I'm late. Been to a darts presentation night. Awesome. Oh, you just put it in there, did you? Thanks, Kath.
What's that?
William Bodie says, can it use carbon filament? I don't think it can with, with the standard nozzle. So the nozzle that it comes with, I think, is a 0.4 mil. I don't think it's a high temperature one. I'm not too sure. There is, I did read very, very briefly that if you want to do certain types of filament, you've got to change out the hot head, which is in there, which apparently is supposed to be very easy to do. There's like a little gasket over the front of it, and this bit apparently just pulls off, as far as I know. Oh. Yeah, so that pulls off, giving you access. So there is the actual extruder, the hot part, and it's got like a silicon gasket, so you just pull the gasket off, and there's like a little retention clasp. Apparently it's one of the easiest printers to service, which is very handy. And I don't know how this goes back on now. Apparently you can reprint these, but...
Dutch John asked how big the cat castle is. It's got 10 cats on it. So
it's got 10 cats, so yeah, it should be pretty big. Shiny Helmet says, hello, a bit late to the party. Has Mike made a mini Thor hammer? No, not yet. Rasher says, polymer plastics are still the most widespread 3D printed material, but if you think they're only good for fancy chess pieces or cute desktop models, you might be surprised how versatile they are. Yeah, I think they are. Dutch Jan says 0.4 mil or 4 mil. I think it's 0.4. Yeah, 0.4.
Did you see Ruthless?
Yeah, about the polymer plastics.
No. I've got the MAG B550 motherboard. Do you know how to get it?
Is this Rasher?
No, Ruthless.
Oh, Ruthless, sorry. Ruthless. Oh yeah, Ruthless. Bro, I've got the MAG B650 motherboard. That doesn't narrow it down much, but thanks. Do you maybe know how to get this motherboard to run with 64 gig DDR5? Ooh. 4 sticks of RAM at 6,000 megahertz. You've got more chance of winning the lottery. That ain't gonna happen. Well, you could probably spend a lot of time tweaking it to get to 6,000 megahertz, but I think it's unlikely. I don't think the processor or the board will support that. So 64 gigs over 4 sticks, realistically, you might get 5,600 megahertz. More than likely going to be possibly downclocking to 52. 4 channels on the B650s and with the first gen of the new Ryzens is very hard to do. For some people it's hard to get 2 sticks to run at 6,000, so 4 sticks at 6,000, yeah, I think you're going to struggle. Ideally you want to get the very, very latest BIOS as you can. That might give you a fighting chance, but yeah, I think you're going to struggle with that. So where do we get to? Rasher says, PS, I googled my plastics info. I'm no expert. No worries. Ruthless says, oh, I've got Ryzen 9 1700X. Nice CPU. But yeah, I don't think you'll... Well, it's possible you might be able to get it to that. But
Discord.
I think it's going to be very, very unlikely. Shiny Helmet says, what is that white plastic fallet looking thing? Oh, that is the bed scraper. So this is designed to, apparently I'm not supposed to use it on here, but I have done, is for getting underneath the prints to remove them from the top. Viali 100 says X760 is easy. Oh, what, to get 4 sticks of RAM going at 6,000 megahertz? I don't think it is going to be, because the chipset won't make a difference, because the chipset's got no bearing on the memory at all, because it goes from the memory to the processor. It's a direct link. So the chipset shouldn't have any bearing on it at all. I could be wrong there, but I'm almost 100% the memory controller's on the CPU, and the CPU tracks go directly from the CPU LGA pins right straight over to the memory slots. So it shouldn't have anything to do with the motherboard chipset. It might have something to do with the motherboard isolation tracks, but I think most boards tend to be 6-layer now. Maybe X670 might have more layers. Maybe better tracks. Ruthless says, you think I'd rather go with 232 gig? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you can, 2 sticks is definitely the way to go. It's much less pressure on the memory controller. 4 sticks of RAM, although it looks very cool, is really hard to get working properly. And also you've got the other complexities that unless you buy 4 sticks of RAM at exactly the same time, and even then you're still not guaranteed they're all going to be the same. At least when you buy a matched pair of RAM, they are factory matched, so you know they're exactly the same spec. Even buying RAM at the same time, it's hard to get the same ones, especially if it's faster moving RAM. Potentially, like if you're buying some RAM, I know you haven't, but if you're buying like Corsair, they switch over RAM chips like it's like a boredom thing. It's like, right, what chips we got left? Right, let's use those. They just put them on. So if you buy 2 sticks of RAM now, want to upgrade later to another 2, again, very ill-advised thing to do, because it's generally not going to work very well. Shiny Helmet says, I thought it was something you created. No, we did print it. That has been printed by us, but it's not Thor's hammer. Close, I suppose. Wolfman says 2DPC 2R max speed up to 5400 plus megahertz on B550 670. Rasher says, my brother and his mate have arrived. Gotta go. Good night, day. Good morning, all. Thanks, mate. Catch you soon, and happy birthday to your daughter. Rufus says, I've tried with Expo enabled as well. Still no luck. Okay, cool stuff, man. I'll sell the 4 sticks, 16 gig, and get 2 32s. Well, yeah, I bought 2 times 2 packs of the exact same RAM. Appreciate your input. No worries. It's a really hard thing to do. Potentially, if you want to try, you could try upping the DDR5 voltage for the RAM. Giving the RAM a little bit more voltage will certainly help increase the signal strength in the tracks. So you might get to 6,000, but you're way over the AMD spec. You're also potentially causing your RAM premature death by giving it too much voltage. It isn't so much of a problem, but yeah, just want to make you aware that you can do it. You can try to give the RAM more voltage to make it stable at that sort of speed, but ideally, if you can, it's a lot easier to return the RAM if you've recently bought it and exchange it for 2 32 gig sticks. That makes a lot of sense. Wolfman says AM5 is not good for 4 sticks. No, I'm not sure if I know anybody who's actually running 4 sticks. I'm trying to think. There's probably been a couple of people who come on Discord, but in general, it's something that I would probably avoid. Right, we're coming up to, well, heading towards 11 o'clock now, so this will be the 15-minute warning. So if you've got any last-minute questions or anything, feel free to put them in the chat now. Or if anybody wants to see if this motherboard actually works, very quickly before we wrap things up, do let us know. and maybe I'll put together a very quick little test bench just to see if this does work. Let me know what you think in the comments. I am going to unplug this and take it back into the other room a minute to give you time to get your comments in the chat and pack away some of this other crap. It's quite good actually, you can lift it by the gantry. Oh! Luckily PLA is quite tough. Mine cats. I'm still talking, I'm not sure if you can actually hear me, but I'm in the back room now. Oh god, and that normal tungsten light looks very orange compared to the white studio lights. Put that back in. Oh, that's what that noise was. Oh. Move the bed. There we go. Right. Bloody Otis has gone in there now, hasn't he? Shithied. Alright, let's get rid of those. Little flick spinner. Bloody love it. That's cracking, that is. Not literally. It's not got a crack in it yet. Hey Dave. What go on? The old bamboo. Come on, Otis. Come on, Flame. Let's go. Hey, Dave.
That is the camera. Where's Grumpy?
William Bodie says, I use 4x16 GB. Cool, but that's not on AM5 platform, is it? You're on AM4 or you're on Intel, aren't you? You're on a 11th gen Intel, from what I can remember. Shiny Helmet says, we can hear you, be careful what you say. Yeah, I know. Make the test bench, motherboard working, please. Says Shiny Helmet, do it, test that board. O'Reilly's coming with a £10 super chat, thank you very much. It says Kitty Disco. Thank you, sir. Watch out, cat static in the workshop.
Look at that tail.
That sucker don't move quick enough to generate any static.
Oh, he does. He skids on your head.
Alright, let's get this bad boy fired up and see if it actually works. I need food, I'm bloody starving. I'm wasting away. I'm under 14 stone still. Which for me is actually quite impressive. Because I've been, for so many years, I've been borderline sort of 13 stone into 14s and then 14s heading towards 15s, which is not good for me at all. Very unhealthy indeed. So at the moment, because I'm under 14 stone, which for me is actually quite an achievement. So today is like, oh, this is day 3 of consistently being under 14 stone. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. I know it's not a massive achievement in the grand scheme of things in the world that we live in. It's a very minor thing, but to me it's an achievement, so.
But you've done well, you've given up your favourite cup of tea.
I've given up tea.
And sugar.
Given up sugar. Given up crisps, pizzas, pasties, pastries. Basically you name it. I'm living on roast dinners and salad. And the roast dinner isn't what you consider to be a roast dinner. So it's not like it is baked potatoes, but it's not like Yorkshire puds and all that kind of stuff. It's basically just real food. So potatoes cooked in an air fryer, nice and healthy. Roast carrots, roasted parsnips if we can get them, but we can't at the moment. And
nice lot of fat.
A joint of meat. Mark Berry says, Mike, try a bit of intermittent fasting. I basically do. So I do almost, well, quite often, it's like 24-hour fasting.
It's not 24-hour.
Well, isn't it? Because
yeah,
we eat once a day, so it's every 24 hours, roughly, because it's the same time. What do you mean, I suppose? Of course it is.
Well, yeah,
if you go from 5 o'clock one day to 5 o'clock the next day, that's 24-hour fasting.
But then we have got a no coffee now, haven't we?
Yeah.
So we do have milk. So
yeah, we are having milk now, and we've got like a coffee-free coffee. which is basically like a chicory drink.
We've got some new drinks actually this week, didn't we?
Yeah, we got some new drinks this week. It's actually very exciting. No Brussels sprouts because they make you fart, and farting is not fun.
They don't make you fart.
Unless you're in an airproof container, in which case it's hilarious.
Only if other things that disagree with you.
So this is the drink that we've been having. So we've got this one, Whole Earth Organic, no coffee, decaffeinated. So that is a coffee alternative. That is made with barley and chicory. It's actually really nice. I wouldn't know that if you serve that up to somebody, they probably go, it tastes more like a latte. So it's got that kind of, it's a more creamy texture and it's less bitter than coffee. It's actually quite nice. I like it. We've also got this one as well, which is called Cacao Bliss. Cacao Bliss, which is basically like hot chocolate, but not made from chocolate. It's made from other stuff. And this one is freaking awesome. This is the best tasting hazelnut coffee I've ever had, and it's not coffee. It's actually dandelion root. Unbelievable. This stuff tastes and smells, even in here. If you like hazelnut flavour, or you like a hazelnut latte, this stuff is amazing. Polish stuff. Polski, I can't read it. Basically, it's a coffee alternative, but it tastes incredible. It's inexpensive. Like, this is super expensive. But you're eating dandelion root, which is actually really healthy for you. It's actually quite healing. So, yeah, it's nice. If you like drinking coffee, but you don't want all the bloody crap, then it's really worth looking into.
Thanks, George.
And hopefully you can see that I have actually lost some weight in my face. Slimming down a bit. Thanks, George, for that. Yeah, by the way.
For Father's Day.
For Father's Day, that was. Brilliant stuff. David Under says, what the fuck is a stone? UK is supposed to be a metric country. No, we're not. The UK is so, like, convoluted. It's ridiculous. So if you drive anywhere, it's miles per hour. If you buy any timber, it's inches. Metric is basically
buy fruit and veg,
rare.
What you're buying because it's in kilos and nobody knows kilos.
Yeah. Now I've got a Ryzen 3200G, which I'm pretty sure doesn't work in here, but I'm going to try it because I don't think I've got anything else I can use. Let's try that. Let's get some RAM. I forgot I've got a set of RAM there. RAM, and I want a graphics card, and I want some RAM. Is that the only RAM I got? Okie dokie, let's get this set up then. I think we'll try, I'm pretty sure the 3200G will boot, but I don't know. O'Reilly says I have a 3200G and need a motherboard for it.
David Underhill says, Mike, you sound like you've given up the will to live. I think you've actually sounded really enthusiastic for a change.
I tell you what, that hazelnut coffee makes it worthwhile. Like, all the crap. Like, honestly, I've abused my body over the years. I've had a really shockingly bad diet for a long, long time. And I 100% know for a fact I eat way, way too much sugar. Like, ridiculous amounts of sugar. And it's affecting my health. It really is. And it does. It gives you, like, inflammatory diseases and all that kind of crap. So, and it's even worse if you go the other way and do, like, sugar-free stuff, like sweeteners, because they just tell your pancreas, sweet stuff, produce insulin, and you get fat. So you don't want to be doing that.
Low fat, you starve in.
So, yeah, low fat, you starve. High fat is better-ish. So, yeah, it's just find what works for you and what makes you feel healthy and hopefully enjoy a long life. O'Reilly says I need to eat less sugar and processed carbs. Yeah, in terms of processed carbs, I don't think we have any now, do we?
You have pasta, don't you?
I do cheat a little bit on a Sunday when I have to go into the work and shop. I generally have like a spaghetti bolognese, but that's not the worst I could have. I could have like a pizza or donuts and crap like that, which I don't. So
And you do have bananas.
And I take a banana with me, yeah.
We're doing real food, not low carb, so.
I do feel a bit better for it.
Yeah, you're much better.
Well, I don't know.
You're not moaning as much.
My mood and my depression is definitely lifted. And for anyone of a certain age, you'll know what depression is like. I think we all suffer from it time to time. And I'm pretty sure, I think depression, a lot of it comes from your diet. Because you're just feeding your body crap, so you feel like crap.
But then when you feel depressed, you want to eat.
When you're depressed, you do want to eat, and you want chocolate and all those kind of things. I miss ice cream. Ice cream I miss tremendously. But I might get some proper, like, iced cream. Not the kind of sugary, whipped up crap that you generally get in most places these days.
But you can just freeze banana slices and process.
Yeah, that's true. Viali says, if I eat less carbs, I would disappear. I need a high-calorie diet just to keep my weight. Yeah, sure.
Same.
You're very lucky. Kath's the same. Kath's like under 9 stone. And she's, what, 5'6"? 5'8". So, she's quite tall. Skinny bitch. There's a drink named after that.
I've been on diets for years and years and years, and this is the only one that I've ever gone under 9 stone on.
I need a cooler. What have I got?
It's really a diet, it's just a lifestyle change.
Oh, I don't want to get that out of there. Oh, come on. There must be some cooler which I've got which is easy to access. It doesn't require me putting loads of thermal paste on. I don't really want to do that. Let's get the old notch out. That's probably a good oh, actually. Where's the dewy shoe thing? I don't want to stand on this thing. Never stand on a chair that rotates. It's not good. But
He's not even there, but I wanted you to.
if I fell off that thing and died, you'd be really upset.
Like when you went through the table.
Yeah.
I was quite upset then. You spilled my coffee.
This will be fine. Let's take off the AIO shield. Tough Enough says a little bit of everything in moderation is good for you. It is, but unfortunately, because I've not done a little bit of everything in moderation for so long, I've got to go back and reverse the damage that I've done. So then I can then start introducing some other things which I may have missed out on, or I am missing. Although to be fair, it's not too difficult. We're doing this since, well, basically around about my birthday time.
May.
So yeah, we're over a month in yet, and I still haven't cracked. And there's loads of chocolate and stuff around here, and I don't really crave it now, which is quite nice. But I do every now and then when we go to the shops, like, oh god, I want those biscuits. But then I walk past and I'm good.
You did get the biscuits out of the cupboard yesterday, didn't you?
I did.
And what did you do?
I put them back.
And what did you have instead? Trail mix.
Yeah, instead I got the biscuits out of the cupboard. I was about to have some biscuits, a moment of weakness, and I got out some trail mix, which is like papaya, banana, coconut, mixed nuts, all that kind of stuff. And actually, I preferred that. I got some dried mango. That's amazing. If you've never had dried mango, you've really got to try it. Even if you don't like mango, you'll like it. Yeah, it's sugar, but it's like fructose, isn't it? It's like the real deal. Is that actually making contact? No. Let's get rid of that AIO shield on the bottom. I suppose really I should have just screwed that in. That would have been a lot easier, wouldn't it? That'll do. At least it's better than nothing. It's a 3200G. It's not going to explode, is it? Or get too hot. Ari Wolfman says it doesn't support it, but it does work. David Under says I used to be 157 kilos 4 years ago. Now you're 125. Congratulations, 25 kilos is what?
Hey Siri, what is 25 kilos?
That's like 2 or 3 stone, isn't it? Well, that means nothing to me.
Hey Siri.
That's 5 stone, isn't it?
What is 25 kilograms in stones and pounds?
G'day, mate. I think we're ready to rock and roll. Ah, you drongo. Right, let's plug this into HDMI 4. Because we have got 4 HDMIs, you know.
Hello, Dave. Are you okay?
Oh, I should have brought my other keyboard and mouse in. I don't know if the onboard graphics is going to work on this. Actually, I'm not even going to use the onboard graphics. I'm going to go straight for the bad boy 1030. Although I don't think this 1030 is working very well because it seems really loose in all of the slots I've been trying recently, which is never a good thing. So I think this next part might actually work. I'm not sure. AIO Wolfman says that's 4 stone. Well done, 4 stone. That's a lot. And let's have a look. Where are we? HDMI 4. There we go. No signal. Can you still hear me? Can you hear me and see me? Is that all right? Can you still see me? Is that small enough at the bottom? You don't want my big mug in a place, so. And he's nearly 6 foot as well, Dutch Jan. Okay. Happy days. Can you still see me? Awesome. Right, let's give this thing a try then. Blah, blah, blah. Tell you what, if I plug in the power supply and turn it on, that's going to make life much easier.
Bang!
Idiot.
They can't even see you.
They can a little bit.
Oh yeah.
See and hear you. Yes, we can. Awesome. Right, so you'll find out at the same time as me. So the motherboard, where's the diagnostic LEDs? They are not lighting up. Oh, they are. We might get a signal. We might not. Let's see. Are we going to get a signal? We're on memory training. Come on, you can do it. Please give me a signal. Give me a sign. We're stuck on... It says boot. It says it's booted. But we've got no display. There's something wrong with this graphics card. Right.
Isn't this the same thing that happens every single time?
This is what happened last time I did this. So at the moment, let's switch back to main camera. So at the moment, actually I'll give you the overhead. On the overhead you can probably see the diagnostic D-LED. Oh, I'll turn that off. So the diagnostic D-LED, you can probably just about make out here, is on the is on boot. So it does appear that it's worked, but I think this card isn't liking being in here unsupported. So I'm going to turn this back off. I'm going to head back over to.
Graphics working?
That's a good
Come
point.
back soon, upside down.
Yeah, I know. I did that deliberately. Let's make it a bit bigger. There you go. So I'm going to try this again. I'm going to have the graphics card up this way, so it's making a connection. Did I turn that back on? Yeah.
What you got in your tail? Big cobweb.
There we go. Fingers crossed. We lost the signal for me then. Oh, that's that power supply, isn't it? Are we going to get a display? Are we going to get a display? I did this on a video the other day when I was trying to get something working. It seemed like that graphics card was being very bad. Right, it says no signal there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug the HDMI. And I'll plug it into the motherboard. And I don't know if we'll get an output on that anyway. So let's turn off the power. Going to take out the GPU. Flame.
He's going to yawn.
I'll try that again and see if we get an output this time.
mechanism.
Come on, please work. Please give me a display. Right, well it says it's booted. I thought I saw something on the screen. Yay! Awesome. That is working. I can't read what it says, but let's have a look. So, yeah. Ryzen 3 3200G with Vega graphics. 32 gigs of RAM, CPU core, blah, 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 39 degrees. That appears to work.
I've got skin.
And what is the BIOS date? So the BIOS build version is 1F0 from the 23rd. So that's over a year old, that BIOS version. So we'll probably need to update the BIOS at some point. But yes, we do have a display. Wolfman says, I hate the sound of a PSU turning on and off. I do. It's not as bad as what it is if it actually, if it dies and it explodes. The exploding noise is the worst one for me. So I don't know if this, have I actually killed this graphics card? I might have to do the old lick test. Sorry. I wonder if you can play these like a xylophone. Not xylophone. Is it what's a xylophone? No, the mouth organ. Is a xylophone?
That's what Nick Bryan said I was playing.
What's a xylophone? Is that the same as a mouth organ?
Xylophone's the thing you ching, ching, ching with.
Oh, of course, yeah. Right, I've licked the slot. Didn't feel a thing. And we'll put the... so we know the HDMI cable works. And let's see if it was a little bit of a... Wow. Lost the display there for a second. There's something definitely seriously wrong with that wall socket. I need to have a look at that. Let's see if we get a display this time. Oh, we can't tell because I'm on the wrong screen. Ah! HDMI 4, there we go. I need to program that one into the Elgato. Actually, I need to get a bigger Elgato. Or we're going to get a display. No. On that same screen. So I wonder if that graphics card slot is knackered. Or whether it is... Harmonica is the same as mouth organ. Thanks, David. That BIOS is half a year old. Okay. Well, yeah, it's last year. So, this didn't work. Wonder why this card is not liking it. Let me try that again. So, this will restart. So, that'll be that one there. Let's see if we get an output now. I'm holding it in place. Come on, be good. See, I don't know now whether it's because this doesn't really support... Yeah, it says it's how you put in a display. It's like it can't see the graphics card at all. If I unplug that. Or maybe I've just put my slightly faulty cable in the wrong place again. Let's try and deactivate HDMI number 4. No, we've definitely got no signal there. So I'm going to turn this off. And I'm going to try a different HDMI cable. Which is actually going to be harder than I thought because alright, so do I. I've got one here. That's one I should have put away just now. Just sit in there. I've been having some weird problems with HDMI cables in the last few days. It's probably about that time of year where I should just buy a bunch more and chuck them all out. So I do unplug them and plug them all back in very frequently. Sure. Loving the RGB around the heatsink. So we're going to get a display. Come on. Come on, give me a display. So that is on VGA, it's past VGA and it's gone on to boot. But no, still nothing. So, that means it's either the graphics card or the slot. I'm hesitant to believe it's the slot. I'm trying to think, what graphics card have I got here which has minimum requirements for actually powering. I don't think I have got anything here with minimum requirements. But I would like to ascertain whether or not it's the slot or whether it's the card. I wonder if I could try it in that slot. That feels better in there. This is so unlikely to work, but we'll try. If that works, that's going to be a bit of a weird one, because that is from the processor, that one's from the chipset. William Bodie says, question, what does the BIOS show about video output? Well, it's gone past that. It says it's on the boot screen. The diagnostic LED has gone past CPU, it's gone past RAM, gone past VGA, and currently it thinks it's displaying an image somewhere. So, maybe it's a quirk of the 3200G, although in theory it should work on here absolutely fine. I mean, actually, I'm pretty sure we've even made videos to that kind of thing. So let's try a different processor. Where's my Ryzen 9 gone there? That's got to go back into there. I refuse to believe that that GPU is dying or dead, being that it's not really been used. Let's put a little bit more thermal paste on there. A little bit of thermal paste. For what we're doing, a little bit of thermal paste in there should be fine. I think that's going to make some decent coverage. Let's try that and see what happens now. I might have to hold that in the up position. Here we go. So it should get an arsehole now because it's got a new processor in there. Right, now we've got no lights. It's rebooting. The lights all flashed briefly. We're on VGA, stuck on VGA briefly. It's rebooting again. Stuck on VGA. Still no display. No, it's trying and trying, but it doesn't seem to want to see this graphics card. Ah, finally it's gone to boot. So either it's given up and decided, right, it's a headless system, so... But we're not getting a display. Let's turn it off again. And I'll put the graphics card on a slightly different angle, facing that way a little bit more. This is very unusual. I don't want to have to get another graphics card out of the box. I think I'm going to have to. GPU not connected to the PSU. This one's self-powered, so doesn't really need it. And yeah, it's gone to boot. So technically it's in the BIOS at the moment, or at least it thinks it's in the BIOS. So for some reason that isn't given an output. And I don't understand why not. HDMI 4. Okay. Deactivate. Activate. I did plug it right back in the right slot, didn't I? Yep, I did. Okay. I refuse to be beaten. So, just to rule out any strange irregularities, let's get the Hack for T monitor on the go and see if we can get it just to display an image on there. So much for me. Oh, I know. I'll pack up the stream now. Then I opened up a whole bloody can of worms. So I'm just going to plug these bits and pieces in. Other side. So a little mini HDMI. Have you just fed the cats? I smell cat food. Did I fart? I didn't. I'm pretty sure I'd have realised. Oh, it smells like a bit... I don't know what it is actually. Oops. That's got a display. Not sure. Can you actually see that on your screens? Yeah, you can. Excellent. Right, let's turn that off. And turn on again. Come on, give me a display. I can barely contain myself. That looks like it's working. There we go. MSI BIOS. It works. And it works with that processor. The graphics card slot works. Happy freaking days. I don't know why the capture card does that. I think it's because it's like a software-based capture rather than being dedicated hardware. So it doesn't always recognize the HDMI signal. But as you can see, well, hopefully you can see, it's definitely working. Yeah, it's working. I'd buy that for $1. No, the 1030 doesn't need any power. That was one of the primary reasons why I bought it originally. Other than the fact that I thought it was going to be... Well, I got this at the beginning of the COVID era, and I thought that graphics cards were going to become completely unobtainium. So even though this was like 100 quid for a GT 1030, I thought, well, if I can't get a graphics card at all, at least I've got something which I can connect up and will actually display an output. And it doesn't need any extra power, so it's quite handy. But yeah, for some reason it's behaving slightly oddly when I try to connect up in some instances. But anyway, it is good to test with, although it's got to the point now where I'm actually having to kind of retest my tests, because as you saw then, it worked, but then it didn't work. So yeah, getting the right combination of bits. I think it's mostly to do with the capture card. So I need to kind of work on that a little bit to see what is quite going on there. But anyway, to cut a long story short, the motherboard appears to work. Obviously, we haven't tested things like M.2s and extra RAM slots and stuff like that, because that will happen, no doubt, when we put this thing together in its fully assembled form, which hopefully will end up being with the Ryzen 7 5700X3D, which I think is going to make a really nice chip to pair it with. And I'm going to put in there a possibly either 7800 XT or possibly a 6800 non-XT. And I think that's going to be a cracking little gaming PC. But I'm still working on what case to actually put it all in. Waiting for the Lian Li cases to come out and actually be available, which is taking a while. What's the matter? But we'll see. Prices are still crazy in my opinion. Not as bad, but not great. Now, graphics card prices at the moment are just ridiculous. I'm much keener to buy like an RX 6600 for a couple of £100 than spend almost £1,000 on a 4080 or a 4080 Super, I suppose it would be now. It just seems bizarre. Like, you can still enjoy games on a 1080p monitor very happily, but if you've got the money and it's your hobby, then treat yourself, because you only live once. John Sullivan says, I'm buying secondhand on eBay. I've got a 6750 for under £300. I'll be honest with you, when it comes to pricing, I'm really out of the game on that. But I think, yeah, it's good. And of course, the processor-wise, the AM4 now is a really cool platform, because you've got some very nice processors which actually give a ton of performance, but are starting to cost considerably less than they have done. Such as the, like I said, the 5700 X3D on AliExpress for like 35 quid posted. 135 quid, sorry, not 35 quid. That would be very much wishful thinking. Dave, what are you doing? I'm sorry, Dave, I can't let you do that. He's my very own space oddity. I need to watch that film again. Right, where's that one go? So, let's wrap this video up, because I said I'd give it another quarter of an hour and I've given it another half an hour. It was very bad of me and very naughty. I got to be up for work in the morning. Where is it? eBay is crazy and won't deliver to Ireland from UK. Weird.
Ireland's really hard to post to though, isn't it?
Freeman 2, how you doing? Yeah, we struggled sending stuff there. Right, anyway, I think that is pretty much going to be it for tonight. Thank you, as always, for all of your comments, your contributions, your super chats, your membership, and your just continued patronage. Is that the right word? Patronage? I think it is. What's that? Pilgrimage. Your homage. So, yeah. Hopefully you've enjoyed tonight's video. If you have, and you haven't already, can you please click on the like button? Also, if you want to, if you're new here, click on subscribe and the video notifications. That will be notified of future video releases. Dave, you're being very off-putting. Dave? What's going on? Yeah, MSI, your favourite. He loves MSI, can't get enough of them. Anyway, I think that's going to wrap things up. I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video, and potentially maybe also on a combo stream with Kerry Holzman at some point. You never know. I'm still a little bit dubious about that. We'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and have a great weekend, what's left of it, and we will see you on Monday, bright and early. Don't forget, new videos released 12 o'clock UK time every single day, other than Saturday, so you should have something to watch. And I think this Monday's one is actually a very interesting one. I think you'll find it very, very cool. Anyway, I've been Mike, this is Mike's Unboxing Reviews now too, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video, and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to end this now.